CareFinder is a real estate company that focuses on property development within the Gambia. We pride ourselves with providing not just quality and durable houses, but also state-of-the-art designs tailored to our clients' tastes and expectations. Our unique experience and expertise is second to none in the industry. We are currently building and selling 3-bedroom bungalows at Sukuta Traffic Lights and Jabang. We're also building and selling 3-bedroom story buildings at Sukuta Paradise. Other sites are also in the pipeline. With CareFinder, payment options are available. With just 40% deposit, you can get your house started. For more information, contact us on 329-5188, 727-0049, 709-8418. You can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram at CareFinder. With CareFinder, you are assured of a secure investment.
ñu ngi leen di dalalaat ci beneen ajuma ci Grand Bantaba fii ci Kër Fatou di leen jaajëfal di am mbégte ak kontante pour indiwaat leen beneen show bu grand ak guest bu grand ci bés bu grand li may njëkkee rek mooy dalal suma naataango yi nii ñi nga xam ne moom laa bokkal show bi nii ñuy bokk waxtaan bi am nañ fi tey ak guest panelist a brother a comrade a baby brother, right? So, si mom lay njëkkee daal pour mu ubbi nuyoo bi Saybo
thank you very
ñu ngi laa
much
dalal si beneen Grand Bantaba doo jàmbur ci plateforme bi nii ñëw nga fi ñëwaat fi ñu kontaane rek you know pour nga ñëw pour step in ñu bokk plateforme bi waxtaane askan bi nga xam ne ajuma bu nekk ñu ngi bàyyi seen soxla toog di xaar Grand Bantaba léegi gis naa ne sax am na ñoo xam ne dañ dee am a watch party which is very nice when people take you know video of them in a group in a room you know watching screening it on their TV it's really heartwarming pour wane ne show bi dëgg am na nit ñi moomal nañ ko seen boppa parce que amal na leen njëriñ because foog naa ne su doon ne amalul leen njëriñ indilu leen yokkute duñ bàyyi seen precious time di war a toog ñoom it neen you know di lekka di naan di ko seetaan ñoom it di am seen little debates on the you know take on the issues that we talk about fii nii kon kontaan nañ lool ñu ngi ko rafetlu ñu ngi leen di jaajëfal di leen ñaanal jàmm ju bari moo tax it saa yu nekk dañuy def suñu kéemtalaayu kàttan pour gis ne ñu ñëw indil leen show bi parce que am na njëriñ yëpp ay waxtaan la yëpp ay yokk xel la yëpp pour jëm kanam la ni ko soosay dee waxee amanke ñëw kajo foo amanke kondante yaa ñoo kondante yaa amanke haasiti yaati banku diyamo lem family diyamo lem wala kantol naate jang wala mu Grand Bantabate so Saybo mbe konton na
baraka bake nene jërëjëf
yo lafinot may man dinka
thank you very much mbella mo lal ni jiber lal be konton na mbapre al nyumbara mi konton dro dat lan na boss la bi dal kontanta bake nim politicien mo bendam nim mo le benda jam yalan ko nay do ko ke civil society mo le mu yalan ko tubabul ka fo mi I greatly look up to him and he has been doing a great job that recruit us into the civil society space.
Right.
So, Kamar so the young one contact Kubati, Mbaflaiko Inimbara, and welcome to the Grand Bantaba. And Abdullah, I think Abdullah started this show when I was away, but you know, Abdullah is somebody that if I watch the show all the time, I see that passionate man that speak truth to power.
That's
regardless.
right.
So it's a pleasure. We were together yesterday in Africa TV.
Awesome. Lovely.
So I look forward to a new conversation on a different platform and both all to towards the same direction. And Ngolo, the Talibo thing, today I'm a bit calm. Talibo is not here to tell me you civil society. I tell man fell long, right?
Talibo man tarajang bari ala mobe.
I miss him. I miss Talibo. Nga Talibo miss. Anya kanale no.
Talibo man tarajang bari ala mobe jang. Mbe hosla. No, mbe hosla bari Talibo la opinion folang fanamba fola.
Ani.
No problem.
No. Eman na jago.
Mbe sonko fanang kontona.
No, ebe siro men kang bi ebe yebula men no ko don Talibo te jang.
Okay, entele be kontiro la keno, right?
Atejang.
I'm the captain of the aeroplane.
Yes, of course. So you'll decide how it goes.
Thank you.
But thank you very much, Nene, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm always excited to talk about issues relating to this country and how we move forward.
Right.
And I look forward. I don't know where the conversation will go around, but I look forward to have some nice conversation with Marr.
Sit tight, relax, and wait for what is about to get unfolded. Right?
Thank you.
Bayo.
Thank you so much, Nene. Abarakabake, Omar. Abarakabake, brother Marr. I mean, like Omar Yafanyaming, he's been into civil society, not today. And we've all seen the little difference or whatever difference in the Menkeka in the civil society. But we will keep it up. We're looking forward to see a better country. Namembela Hamum Waleti. Bivanang is another great day. I mean, having Abdullah here. Thank you that Namo Mantarajan Talib. I like
Lina amna lumonuro.
Yeah, because
Li amna lumonuro.
No, lalo
Tedu mo ko setan.
No, because the problem is, let me tell you something. Isimu bondi talibola simu kono na foyele. Isimu bondi talibola samoto kono. Talibola iman talibola nde. Talibola basically be wafela MPP waka wafela gede. Be wafela sign. So it's a hackle to bag. So bifana mu another great solity. Ben na great boss content na abe America ba enjoy kanko kunu na je Seattle, I mean guy go big man buwa be content na back so ne bifana I mean another great show.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
Looking forward. Thank you, Bayo. Bojaba.
Yes.
Ibe mune fula juber lala.
Yes, and of course, a big welcome to all the people. They are not new, but they are new to this moment. Yes. And welcome to all of them, Saibo, and of course our guests. And thank you to all the audience, home and abroad, and everybody. We appreciate what everybody is saying. We are learning as well, in terms of positives and negatives. We dearly request prayers and more guidance from people as well. And always a pleasure to be on the show.
Thank you, Ablaye. Thank you. Jërëjëf gannaaw bu ma dalalee ñi nga xam ne ñoom lay bokkal show bi waxtaani ñu jos dugal ki nga xam ne mooy suñ gan gu màgg gi moom it bii nekkul first time mu ñëw si Grand Bantaba waaye xam-xamam maxamam ak contribution am ci dëkk bi fi ne saa yi fi ñëwee rek pour ñoon lu màgg la te xam naa ne pour ñi ñuy seetaan it dina nekk bés bu màgg ci ñoom parce que waxtaan bi dina yaanja te dinañ ko yaatal bi nga xam ne ku ci nekk di nga ci gis sa boppa kon mu ne doon koo xam ne ni ko buuba dee waxee rek a to mom maabo Gambia kono a to warata mo jama on ka fo Gambia be ne Gambia bantala ya lonne ya ato mo Marr Nyang ñu ko waxee Marr Nyang ki nga xam ne mu ngi yëngu ci yëfi civil society muy Gambia Participate ñu mu nekk organisation boo xam ne Gambia daf leen ñor lépp luy Gambia ñu ngi cee yëngu lépp luy Gambia bugg nañ cee bokka lépp luy Gambia bugg nañ cee xar seen tànki tubéy mu doon ndaw ga koo xam ne nag mu doon royukaay comme ni ko say ba waxee rek di look up to moom ñun ñëpp ñuy look up to moom si fànn yu bare kon ñu amaat kontaante rek pour dalal ko beneen yoon ci Grand Bantaba di yaakaar ne dinañ waxtaan yoo xam ne dinañu amal ñun ñëpp njëriñ te mu yokk ñu xel parce que xelam màcc na ci lu bari soo ko gisee su solee africain nga ne ko hey boy bi su solee africain you know nga ne ko uncle so Marr is one person that they're confused people waaye Marr I somebody that I so respect and love definitely because we've shared so many things in the work and advocacy of anything Gambia Marr ñuy lay dalal beneen yoon ci Grand Bantaba nga nuyu wante ak ñëpp ñu ñuy seetaan
jërëjëf Nene rafet na invitation bi di nuyu first Abdoulaye Bojang Mr Bayo ak suma rakk bi Saybo yàgg neen liggéeyante ci Spaces Civil Society yow tamit bi nekkul first time ñu ngi jogalante loxo si liggéey Civil Society di nuyu tamit ñëpp ak seen technical team yi ñi nga xamante ñoo def liggéey bu rafet bi nii yëpp di nuyu ku nekk sa tur ak sa sant daal
jërëjëf Marr jërëjëf di la dalal beneen yoon kon mbokkaay di leen wax ne rek show bi nii boo gisee ñuy ko ñu mun cee jàpp saa yu nekk di leen ko indil dafa am ñoo xam ne ñooy dooleel show bi ci fànn bu nekk parce que bu du toon ñoom xëj na dinañ ñëw waaye du toll fi mu toll mun naa am sax duñ mun a ñëw kon ñooñu am na solo lool saa yu ñuy def show bi nii ñu tudda leen si jaajëfal leen di leen wax ngàcce ngaalaama kenn ci ñoom nag ki ci gën a màgg mooy ñu ko ooyee Kër Fayda mu nekk ñoo xam ne ñoom seen yëngu-yëngu si wàllum jëndam ak jaay kër la dañuy sampayit seen mbir wóor na seen mbir dëgër na seen mbir it am na solo su dee consistency la su dee honesty la su dee ne reliability la kenn daaxu leen ko kenn ëpp leen ko foo mun a nekk ci diaspora bi waaye biir Gambia fii nii nga bugg a sampa xamuloo fu ngay commencé ñu ngi laa wax ne demal nga jokkoo ak Kër Fayda seen xel màcc na dinañ la advice dinañ la jubante dinañ la woon yoon bi fi ngay jaar su nekkee ne tamit da nga bugg a jënda pàkka muy kër wax leen ak Kër Fayda dinañ leen jàppale ci boobu fànn tamit su nekkee ne yaa ngi ci diaspora bi bugg a sampa tamit amuloo ko la jàppale wax leen ak Kër Fayda dinañ leen dimbale mboolem ñi nga xam ne jokkoo nag ak Kër Fayda ñun de dañooy ne alhamdulilahi rabbil alamin amagul kenn ku ñëw taxaw ne la ngeen ma waxoon defuloo ko o liñ d'accord nangu tool liñ am ak Kër Fayda am na foo xam ne yoxi nañ ci o bàyyi nañ ci kon di leen jaajëfal di wax ne képp kuy yëngu ci loolu jaayam jënd bul sampa anything that has to do with housing building jokkoo leen ak Kër Fayda ki ko jiite nag muy buuba ku xarañ ku bugga liggéey bi ku xam liggéey bi kon di jaajëfal Kër Fayda ci dooleel bi ngeen ñuy dooleel saa yu nekk parce que affaire bi jàppalante la ngeen téye fii ñu téye fii kon yéen ñu am solo ngeen ci liggéey bi nii di leen jaajëfal di bugg a fàttaliwaat ñi ñuy seetaan saa yu nekk nag suñ sista boobu noonu nekkoon Sallaaji Mariama Bojang ba tey ñu ngi ci sàkku ndimbal bi pour gis ne life am bi nga xam ne has been shattered by the demolition that happened in Sallaaji some weeks ago ñu try pour jàppale ko pour turn that around because métti na ñu ngi koo joytu ba tey te dëgg la di jaajëfal ñëpp ñi nga xam ne reach out nañ to moom pour dimbale ko in one way or the other xeebuñ dara ndimbal rek la ñuy laaj képp koo xam ne you genuinely mean well you genuinely have the interest of the people at heart their plight ñu ngi laa ñaan nga reach out to Mariama nga jàppale ko in any way possible kon ñu dugga rek ci programme bi niñ koy defee saa yu nekk commencé ko trending issues yi nga xam ne moo xew ci biir week bi nii gannaaw last Friday bi ñu fi jóge ak this Friday bi nga xam ne moom lay nekk nii bi may njëkkee mooy ne ci fan yu néew yi nii gis nañ a video making the rounds on social media après ne the video moo nekkoon ne ndaw suñuy ooyee Miss Seka mooy santa gi moom lañ vidéo ñu ne dafa nekk koo xam ne dafay sàcca di jël lu moomut so bañ ko jàppee marché Serekunda ña ko jàppa mooy KMC Municipality Police ñu jël ko yóbbu seen office foofu noonu vidéo ko whilst ñu ngee jëflante ak moom mu nekk loo xam ne wax gi bari lool you know ku nekk nag am ci opinion gis nañ tamit KMC the Assistant Commissioner of Police muy seeni mu génnee a press release moom tamit di wax ci mbir moomu noonu comme que lu mun a xew ci dëkk bi bu ñëwee toog fi nii every Friday dinañ ci jéem a wax suñ xalaat and jéem cee indi ay aide ak ay naka lañ ko doon waxtaan daal pour yëpp yokkute ma bëggoon a commencé boobu noonu am soo ne ñu bari dinañ toog ne nañ xool lu nekk mu indi nag waaye ndax parce que mu ngi biir KMC ndax dina waxtaanee boobu noonu oh of course I will talk about it and I'm not only talk about it here on Friday I have given my take my opinion on social media where everybody else is giving their take Ablaye you saw that and when you saw it you saw the press release from KMC what is your take about it lan nga ci xalaat
Yeah, it still it reaffirms the fact that this country is suffering a systemic something.
Mm-hmm.
It is not the central police. It is not the army. You know, a lot of lapses here and there, and you know we should not make it brush it under the carpet. Kafoko. It's a minor thing or stuff like that. Wrong is wrong wherever it happens. and whoever commits it. The fact that I've seen, the release is not defensive, and that's a good step. You acknowledge that things happened and you want to look into it. We only don't want it to be a situation of looking into it as the government of the Gambia does. They will look into it and they will never see. And they will never come to tell you that we have seen or we have not seen. So we need to augment the way we train people, the way we get people to do job for us. Whether this job is security, is civil, is military, we need to really up the game as a country.
Right.
Specifically KMC, we think they should do a lot of probably retraining of their people, especially when it comes to filming, or doing this search, on opposite sex and so on. I'm not sure who was even doing the search, whether it's male or female. I'm not sure about that. But I think these are lapses that they really need to work on to dekabi muna dem kanam. Ligue mom, so there must be issues. And the good part is if there are issues, accept what people say, pick the good thing, and then improve on it. But it is something that we condemn. It's something that is really, really wrong. It doesn't matter whether the guy is well, not well, this, that, no. That could have been done without even filming the guy and stuff like that. Yes, nobody like, kind of thieves. But thieves actually have rights as well.
Absolutely.
They are human beings still. We cannot take them out of the circle of human beings. So whatever treatment you think a human being deserves for being a human being, you need to give or accord, especially if you are an institution that is serving the public.
Right.
So that's the truth. No qualms about it. That's the truth, and we really think this will be the last, not only for KM but for even other security, apparatuses or agencies in the country.
Right. Thank you, Abla. Bye. Wo video mune ite ya je nyaadi ibe mune fola je.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nene, for bringing that issue. Akumata bakele, puru na momo be doko wala damento, ya long to ko ni nyanda kaka nyame. Andung, adama dung fanang kumayate hotele. Anatara sunyaro leke, baring be kajele. It's not coming, luama fuko nimmo mo fa, that instant nyanda ka mari fal. Luai me polo nyanda ko nimmo mo fa, nyanda ka samba luale to, luai men desire or nyanda ka mari. So ninko adama dungula nyanto nyanta ka bunyale according to the law of the land. Yaje even you are traveling per se, like yes can, where there's a scanning process, yes can itambida, and they suspect something in you. Imagine nimu quality or immusolity, nimu quality, quality be sambala into a screening room. Be sambala to a screening room, yes screen ye give, and nibe screen can it doesn't mean they will film you. Because remember je wolo min ko adama dungo feng adama dungo bala nyaje kadana ko dum ga kurro dum yana san sotro so wala atin ke sambala yes ke num musola fana musola ke samba ay screen so wala da nyaji be if you come to our security sector man kewol da ma soto je mo sa ko kewol ga kantarote but nyaje na security sector kono anka musol soto ga kewol soto because we are dealing with not only men, you are dealing with musol fana kewol ga sunyaro ko nyame musol ga sunyaro ke wala nyama kewol ga tinyaro ko nyame musol ga tinyaro ko wala nyama so ni Dauda is good that ko nyinko me afindita I believe ko is going to be apikele na security sector a karambality not only the municipalities or not only the councils not only the police forces but our every security sector kaje ko adama dungula nyanta bunya la bakele so wo komen kata at the market in Serakunda fende me alon ko we condemn it but nkontanda also that ko kabea keta ako fintita banta the municipality concerned wala fana fintita le imambalang isontale ko nyim ko me alon ko aketa kule me alon ko ay new solale ay new torale amanya na kela and you make sure ko those who are responsible are held accountable because it's very important. And I will also give this advice to KMC. Let it not be like the central government. Because in Kaje, the central government, they will say, we're going to do investigation. And those investigations, at the end of it, we will not hear the results. So we expect, at the end of it, whatever happened to those people, we expect them to tell us kar la involved takono, and this is the disciplinary measure me ya lon ko nake. That is going to build public trust to the municipality police, because you see, I mean, Nyajibe, the municipality police la functions, it is somehow limited. If you go to other countries, their municipality police, they deal with many of the community issues. It's not only coming Kapuko, Marcel Dorong, or no, they deal with community issues. So by the way, the central police can deal with other issues, but this, I mean, community issues, this domestic issues is the municipality police responsible. So we expect our municipal police for them to be I mean, let them know the law. Policing. So that is something it happens there, and thank God that if and then and they are going to take a step about the issue, and we expect to hear the results ASP. But we condemn that act. Let musolem bang kewolem bang adama dungo as far as janni bala na kiti bu fano ala nyanto nyanta bu nyala ni adama dungo nyanto because bi aketa wala, who knows, tomorrow it could be my brother, it could be my sister. So basically, you know, na adama di bu nyala nere. So it's important you bring this thing here, and then, you know, now co discourse in feko the authorities they will do the rightful thing. Kajoko, you know, musonying ala nyanto min tinyata gamben ko ala ko ala nyanto tinyata andung ko kita ko kono. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Saibo.
Jerry, thank you for bringing it up.
I'm sure you will get a video, right? And you followed, you saw the statement, you saw people's reactions as well.
This is not video, and I saw KMC's release, and also I saw activists and organizations also make a release. I think is very unfortunate, and then whilst we all acknowledge that there should be training into the security force, for me, I'm looking at an angle of morality and empathy. That police officer would not strip his wife or his sister naked. It's not possible, regardless of the crime. He will not do it. So sometimes, even if we train these people, we need to train. Then what swing halad bi, then what wage. Because that police officer is also empowered by people. Not the police officer model video. If I was there, I was going to stop him. But the people, ordinary Gambians, whose mate have been abused, we are the one filming, empowering a police officer doing that. So I think we need to raise awareness in this country that people, nobody will going to accept, can do support theft. Sajakat la. Luala Yahoo, therefore want to face the law. But before then, her right is fundamental and is supposed to be respected and protected. KMC released a release and then talk about they're going to take actions. You see, like everybody says, we have seen a lot of that here. These are not light things, and then we need to set precedents. The KMC need to go further to investigate and make sure that the corporate is held accountable for those actions. Otherwise, tomorrow somebody else's sister, mother will not be stripped naked. And there are two rights involved there: the right of the woman and child abuse.
The child abuse, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not a little case. It's, the magnitude of the case is high and needs to be handled in such manner. And generally, Luma Buga and Moy, I think the police need to revisit crime scene control. Because ñu ngi wax li gis naa ne tamit ñaari góor leen téye somewhere in Busumbala, and the PIU officers said they don't interrogate ñooñu ñu jël video. At the end of the day, the video is on social media. Yeah, I wrote about it. I saw Gambians coming to look at the act. Man, I don't care about the act. That is between them and God and the law. What I care about is they are suspects. Their rights were supposed to be respected until otherwise.
Proven guilty.
Why would police go to crime scenes and take videos? I saw a police officer respond and said it's part of the job of the police. It even happened in Europe. See that mindset? Because Trump does it, doesn't mean Barroso do it. Who cares about what happens in Europe? We are talking about rights here. So their right was supposed to be respected. If the video is for the purpose of evidence, court law again. What's on Gambia?
Yeah.
So I think the IG, boiling down, like Kim Nuwahe, there should be also that collaboration between the central police and the municipality. Like he said, in Italy you have the municipal police and you have the Carabinieri. The Carabinieri are the national police. And the municipal police, they are the one that serve the entire municipality in local policing and community policing. And they need to be trained to the standard of what a police officer look like, not just because they control markets. So I think these things are very fundamental. The bala faat fanan dañanta ka dunjel because ni momu ye bala fa so te muso wuranna hani ya taray mo faleke son sing hakilo to nyinto bake ngajo ko KMC fanan ye kungul fakafu nyoma yajo ko muyake ye luwa tamandinga ka ibaje la sama modo takela pour mosi hakilo ko ni nyong Gambia no nyom banku dingo koke mu yalon ka ni silo manta nga luwa tamandi way ka video kawsiya mole o mu sutura tinyalti ani hana bani nyanta ka sutura le bedan na world.
Thank you very much. Abaraka bake ikumo nyata saibo. My brother Mr. Marr, issue Gambia la, issue Domi Adama la, issue fundamental human rights of a woman and a child, which I'm sure, I don't know, let me not say I'm sure, muna am gis nga video bi, I'm sure ne hejna tamit gis nga statement ni KMC bi. And yes, it's a particular municipality la xew te bobo gena donte du ne bullet la mu ngi fee soog a xew waaye li tax ma indi ko mooy waxtaanee ko tamit pour ne feneen a feneen nit ñi tam bàyyi ci xel because I'm sure ne lii buñ ci jógee ba liñ war a def ñu def ko dina doon jàngat bu mag ci ñu bare ba nga xam ne ndax police yi la ndax askan bi la tamit ñu bàyyi wante xel ba nga xam ne lu mel ni de yow lan mooy si sa xalaat bi nga gisee loolu ak li nga gis nii ak liñ fi waxtaanee ci lu gàttal li nii rek ak lan ngay mun a yaamari like you know word of caution about the issue.
Well, first we have to look at the root cause of this improper behavior by security personnel at municipality level. Root cause is more the recruitment process. You nga di recruit, right? Are they qualified to be municipal police? But if they are qualified, professional standard, are they upholding to those standards? There are two rights here. Noko gaiwa here. While Mandamai, there are actually more than two rights. One right, more the right of a citizen under detention is violated. That is a whole discussion of its own. The right to privacy, right, has been violated. And then also the right of the children also have been violated. Innocent child, mom lu yaay bi def yonam nekku si mu dem ba mag mu em ni kon saboté ñu ko ne ah yow gisoon ne fini sa yaay ak sa yaay yalla do sacc no yeen yaay yalla do sacc koku nonu naka tudda that stigma de nekk si yaramam fi bala ila yomidin so nit ñi dañu wara bay xel trop bala nga jël mobile nga da ngay film so xolé tamit si the right of a citizen on the detention Angale in law dafa ne presumption of innocence. Koku dene dafa sàcc dafa sàcc but it has not been proven in a law court that he is guilty of theft.
Right.
So whole definition of theft si bopam. The English law daf ko define as first you have to appropriate an object with the intention of permanently depriving it from the owner. Appropriation moy da nga jël the action of taking it. That's one act. The second act moy the intention to permanently deprive it from the original owner.
Right.
All of these have to be proven in a court of law. I'm not mom yu mëna gëss da ñu ne no ñu sun dëkk bi mom.
Right.
Yeah, why anga nene deki loi la. So loi moy dox. Koku nonu den ko tiene dafa sàcc. So she has been alleged of stealing, but she has not been proven in a court of law ne she is guilty of theft.
Right.
So neke under detention as well. Mota den wara commencer di gestu sit interrogation room si. Interrogation room, could everyone should have access to it. Not even police officers. They are not assigned for the interrogation. Their role is to arrest. Their role is to interview. Their role is prosecution.
Right.
So there has to be division of labor. Don't make a jack of all trades. You understand? So koku no dafa dugal bopam. There are two things here. One, even if he is found guilty of theft, right? Muna def lu naan counter sue, muna andi a counter sue, a counter case against KMC for the rights, for her rights that have been violated, right?
And that of the child.
And also court be muna seek for redress. Who knows what amount that could be, and that of the child. The stigma is going to be on him for the rest of his life. So, bobu nonu error is really expensive from the KMC side, because at the end of the day, legi jigen bobu nonu, today the court found that woman to be innocent. Let's say, for example, that lady is found to be innocent. Mujobu case against KMC. That will not be a good reputation for the KMC, because legi don't need that individual kuko film. Then non KMC as an institution, because sumi su the fight su KMC as an institution. So mota nit ñi nga xamantene ñu ngi liggéey, they have to calculate their actions. Demba man non sitan ben documentary which is related to the Oklahoma bombing of 1995. Police bi nga xamantene dafa demone arrest the individual from the court. Because there was a separate case, right? Then go arrest for traffic, then holding a loaded weapon. Why that person actually, suspected of that deadly bombing of a federal building in Oklahoma. Police bu ko dem arrest yi si court bi dafa ne kii nii dañ ko war a protect. Not that I want to protect him, but it's my job to protect him. Kii moo bomb and thousands of lives have been lost. Hundreds of people have been injured. I have to protect him. If left to me alone, I would have killed this guy at the spot. But my job requires me to protect him. The protection there are thousands of people that are already ready to attack the guy and kill him. Now it is his job to protect him. So that more the right of an individual under arrest and detention. So police then wara jangal li buba sun laws they are clear. So lolu nonu was a very expensive error. The damage has already been done. Suneko si digi tubabi jigen bobu non dafa yobu KMC to court. So ma yakarne dal lolu should not have been the case. But responsible use of social media as well. Kuko publish tamit. Suneko man dama am ay millions of followers, because of social media and live the number of views in the attract, I will look at the child. How do I responsibly use my social media? Video, I'm not going to publish it.
Yes.
So manda lola amprua.
But in certain areas, so dinga gis na ñu jël xale bi block.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but why tamit soko selo even so ploy xale bi sax ñi xam jigéen bi xam nañ kan moy doomam. Right? So da ngay xey ñun mi ko xamul ñoo dul xam xale bi parce que xamuñ jigéen bi.
But at least that is even better. No, the first thing is even the video itself should not happen. Should not even happen. No, the person they send the video also to should be, responsible enough kajako. Ñing dindingula be ñun dulado. You see this case, it's not even only about the municipality. It's about the first publisher, or it's about whoever has published that. If the person is identified, they can take all of them to court.
Yeah, privacy.
If somebody somebody can stand for the kid and the mother, because it's not their job to do that. So it's not even a clean money. All these things.
You wanted to.
Yeah. You see, that's why I use the word systemic.
But there was no consent.
Yeah. Now let's talk to our Gambians, our brothers, our sisters, our mothers, our fathers. You see, this country cannot move if we expect the institutions to move it alone. This country cannot move if we expect the institutions to move it alone. We establish those institutions. We need to help them. Now, it's possible, sir, KMC did not film this, but people around did it. Are they aware of the damage? That is why when we have institutions like Child Protection Alliance and other whatever you call them, and we still see...
Is it a working institution?
No, this is what I'm saying.
Because I would have expected to see something from them. in regards to the protection of the child.
But you will not see something from them. You know why? This is not the first.
Well, yeah.
We have people that are going to grade 6, grade 5, doing apprenticeship, with these vans. All those things are things that we need to look into. But as a society, child labor is something that we brag about. Man, some of them say, "Legi daf dem muna dem si the raba si garasi." No, and if you talk,
it's not only
they now say, "Ki su dimbale papa ya am kan mo koy dimbale." Everything has time and stage. But who is talking about these things? So it's like the system that we have, the routine to an extent that Bolale fee, you realize that it has gone up to Basse. The water has gone. It's in Talini, but it has gone up to Basse. How do you fix it? With this nyomo type of leadership? You cannot. Nyunge Gambian see, we have to support our country. If we see something happening and it's wrong, let's call it to order. What was that? Because man now for one kenen sini wa na one leader nyaw. Suñu ada bi wa ko di. Suñu ada supposedly.
Yeah.
Bala ñu am loi, dañu am al ada. Dañu am, our own way of life. But why is that moving away from us? Why? Luta lolu yow da gis nit ki mu ngay def dara sa ada sa nangu ko do ko one way ni na ma fogon ne nañ ko refet def mu refet. But we are not doing that. So this problem is systemic. Yes, KMC is at fault, and come on, it's wrong. But this is a big social issue. The focus only should not even be now KMC. It should be people should understand because of that mom one of the empathy. That's what I'm saying, as a human being. Sunu loasa because loa mom is not effective. Sunu yo am lo yegamande. Sunu yo am lo hell. Loa pugu am hell. So I'm held very important. Talk Lua is the last thing. So why Yegamande hell action society num negati happening is difficult. More the key Usain Gambia said an issue. It's related.
Oh, yeah,
create
children.
I wanted to put that actually.
So it's a systemic problem.
Yeah.
You are going to interview kids
Underage
about come on.
about sexuality.
And yes, you will even see people, adults liking the video, sharing it.
Yes.
So they will not even imagine it.
Naka lañ dee waxee def ñaari vidéo yi.
VR.
No, not VR. Comme su fi maar waxoon dara or whatever, ma jël ko ma def maar voice am ma def ko suma boss or something like am na ñu ko def social media bi de comme nga jël ñaari picture yi not VAR comme
anyway, you are not social media guy, so you don't know.
Photoshop?
not Photoshop comme soo jëlee suma nataal nga jël nataal yi maar def ko together understand nga
I'm going for the grid or whatever. It's not our area. But this is the thing. Man, not expect on. You know how many then you tell them or whatever for such things. We should see them come out. But these things are not happening. Where you don't condemn kids. Man, I have seen it. And you see, let me tell you this. Most I can tell you those that I deal with who are not Gambians, they don't like me. Because man, I have this problem. If you do something in my presence, I cannot do what.
Do you really care that they don't like you?
No, I don't care. I don't care. No, but I tell them, you know what? I've seen, when I was teaching, I have seen great junior school students coming to buy alcohol at a mini market. And it's not even a Gambian on the counter selling. I confronted them. It was heated. Imagine if this one is happening every corner, things would shift. It's me, and I see some people that say, parents in your while I was calling, you have my fellow government telling me, is this not your business? Yeah. Is there parents who don't teach them?
Say, but you want to
I just before Shaibo come, like
it's a deep problem.
It's like this reminds me of turntable right now. If you go there, you find these Tuaregs. I mean, they from I don't know Niger and the like. You see them in either Dindingol. These are kids, and do you know what they do? Year long and year long, it's like ni
Ike mu telephone.
ke mu tele je pi kam gi demuta and let me tell you, if you go to turntable right now, and this thing has been going for more than 2-3 months. You found them like
this is not the first
bunch
year.
of them. And look, they are not only at turntable. Even you go to, Sirakunda, they're there. So you see, these people now understand like, even when they left Niger and they like, in other Senegal, and now they are here in Gambia. So like ibo ke kan jang ila dinnolu ke niji so fontolu jang man ninka foko adamadi ya nyanto from ma understand go dinnolu la nyanto dinnolu do protect. And then look, minister, there's a specific ministry, not only about
Did you hear? No, that is not ministry.
I'm just saying.
When did you last hear anything from that ministry?
No, you hear from them or not, but they, as a person, I believe the people working there, and they have a specific department responsible for the curriculum. So say, we didn't know how long. If the silo kang, if the nyabla mol kang, nobody knows. Mol say all rapino no, mol say second year rape. And all these things could happen. At the age of 5, at the age of 6, at the age of 7, at the age of 4. If the silo kang, you go and found them there. Even the child protection is not doing it. For the central government now, for luwa man tara jebang, luwa me along, it protect those the nolu. But when luwa man tara jebang, you sadadan jawo me kel yim banko kanya to make a stop to it. Because ninka aka banko tinya, aka mobile, it make everybody useless. Ina dorji the dumul wulu, edino wulu, dino be bamburi ko, ina be yale kilo kono to ko sadadan wala. Come on,
Saifu, what did you want to say?
Yes, so I wanted to close there. Thank God, Abla Yafale. Kudul beki kan yimbango kam yalan ko abala fa warta bake. Ajele social media. If nila faka content creator, you have to be creative and innovative on your own. Ite more use la no, especially dindong mu yalan ko man sanjis tan sai fang soto. It all use ka content create. Is it? As somebody that works in the social media and the media monitoring, especially on fact checking, if you look at some of those videos, among your coming is accidental. They go and meet those kids and tell them what to do and film them it's acting. It's not absolute.
So it's
scripted. So didn't we along ko aman sanji tanning say soto maybe from on the original film ko kambano te obulu eko ela kambani koto afai tenin on media. Somebody else saw that. We see, okay, and go ahead with it. And then, is it known? How do you say? Is it known, right? Enemy. So these things are not accidental. And then filming this, meaning now you are putting those kids into scene play that are not good for their growth. And then it polarizes the social media. And what happens is these people will grow up, and then now they cannot control it. But if they grow up, and then they find those things in the media, it happens. I used to be a mentor to this mentorship group. And recently, the CEO texted me that she is into a fight with one of the girls who doesn't appreciate one of the pictures that was posted about her when she was young. Now she's grown. You see? So that was official, but there's that conflict. So talk less of some of these people will grow up and TikTok is still existing. If you want to create money on social media, be creative and be innovative and create content, but leave our children out of it. They have a future, they have a life to live, and they have tomorrow to protect their privacy and their integrity. So I think I must have to thank you to Usinu Gambia for coming up with this. Some of us raise it on social media, but for coming up with it. But also we hope that the letter doesn't get dusted in the police headquarters and in the Ministry of Information. I don't know why the Minister of Information do, but I think the Minister of Children Affairs is supposed to be CC'd and copied in those letters. And I hope they take action to ensure that the social media usage, especially using children, is stop. Thank you.
Stop. That's very, very important. Now that brings something to my mind when you talked about those content creators, need to be careful what kind of content they create, not to use young kids and make content off of them just to make money and click and likes and comments for their own selfish individual use. And that's the content creator, and also the kids to be careful not to be used. But now I just wanted to quickly shift to Marr. Now, what do you think the parents here of these kids, what responsibility do they have in regards to also doing the needful to ensure that their kids are not used, and also police their kids well, especially kids that are going to school, to make it their business to know because man suma dom tay so demon mu def lu melni hana luma hamut waye bu dee ne ñëw na to my attention ne mu ngi involved ci lii because di nga gis ne xale yu ci bari they have done it over and over and over it's a repeat not only a one-off you know so somebody is really using them to do this thing over and over parce que mu ngi train mu ngi dem so now that speaks to what are the parents going to do about it parce que su doon ne parents yi man su doon man la xëy na def nga mistake o sa peer pressure nga def ko benn yoon man laa wax suma doom foog man dina ñaar ba ñetteel ba nga war a nekk a grew in it everybody expects when is the next one coming ma bëggoon rek nga toj foofu a little bit as somebody as a parent what do you think ne parents yi lañ war a def pour ñoom tam ñu jàppale compliment aussi ne dem binda na to the police and all that that's the authorities to do waaye authorities yi luñ mun a def te parents yi nga xam ne ñoo jur ñoo dëkkaa ñoom ci kër yi ñoom it suñ compliment te but I have a buy in you know to make sure this is stop o ñu gis ñaawteef bi dina difficult pour ñu stop ko lan mooy sa xalaat ci loolu
suñ taamee xale dañ naan ñetta dina la yar sa wayjur sa dëkk ak ndoor sa daara te daara su ma ne daara nekkul fu ñuy demee jàng alxuraan kese school sax dañ ko ooyee daara jàngeekaay right ñooñu dinañ la yar so ñooñu ñëpp ay kilifa leen si xale yi waaye di nga gis waajur dina yar dëkkandoo yar daara yar mbedd bi yàq te mbedd bi nag lu koy defar mooy loi moo tax si angal ñu naan public law ñu private law am na waaye dañ ne public law buy govern the relationship between the state and the people and the institutions within a state so mbedd bi nag lu muy yaaxa si ni askan bi bari na parce que di nga dox tase ku baax di nga dox tase ku bon ki ku muy wax ne xale bu ndaw dem jënd sàngara am na fu mu ko gisee ci mbedd bi la ko gisee so waajur yi ñett yi dañ dee def liggéey bu bari nag pour mun a sàmm seen di nga gis dinañ def early child adult education si seen kër dinañ wax seen doom frank conversation about sexual relationship what to do and what not to do don't even get into it di nga gis dinañ wax about these intoxicants dinañ wax issues of respect dinañ jàngal lu bari waaye mbedd bi daf dee yàq te peer influence dafa am doole so man lu ma yaakaar mooy loi bi moo war a dox moom tamit mu mën a aar askan yi because soo amee a youthful population te ñu ngi wax ne jibo si seen data bi I could not actually mënuma side the percentage waaye mu ngi wax ne majority of sun youth yi they are under the age of 15 yaa ngi understand only 3% ñoo nekk above 65 so mu ngi wane ñun ndaw ñi nga xamante ne under 18 years ñoo si gën a bari then ñi nga xamante ne between 18 ba 35 so ñooñu bu gaa yaaxoo the whole generation buy ñëw mooy yàq so dëkk bi nag da nga am lu naan right to prevent youth radicalization because mbedda mun naa radicalize oo nit mbedda bu wonee ne lii moo nekk affaire bi nga dugga into terrorism radicalization nga get into substance at the end of the day loolu dafa amee spill over effect te ñu ngi wone tamit ñun ñëpp dañoo mag yi te ñun suñ système bi fii nii soo demee xool suñ workforce bi right the -3% or so like the 3% adults most of them will depend on the workforce yi mooy ñan mooy ndaw ñi so su nekkee da ngay dem ba di age nga war a depend si sa workforce yi ndaw ñi ñooñu yàqu neen yow ban dund da ngay am so parents yi ñu ngi def seen liggéey waaye yeneen parents yi tamit den sàggane trop si seen doom yi da nga gis di nga dem si yeneen settlements sa doom kenn du ko wax dara sa doom bu saacee wala sa doom bu saagee wala mu def naka su du noonu mbedd mi bu gaa yi génnee di ko yar léegi parents yi ngay gis ñooy nekk seen first line of defense doo wax suma doom bi dara ñu suñ waajur yi spécifique suma yaay suñ taamee xale bu ma génnee bu gisee si biti ñu ngi may door waa mbedd bi ñu ngi maa yuuxu nii la may rombe mel ni juruma su dee da ngaa uti sa yaay pour mu fare la nii la lay rombee wala sa papa nii la gars yi di rombee mel ni ku la jur parce que dañ lay bàyyi naka to dëkkandoor yi tamit ñu yar la.
ñu am seen wàll.
so dafa doy waar. gi nga wax na ko ñun dañ am aada dañ am cosaan dañ am diine mu doon julliti mu doon gurmeti yeneen saa yi bu ñu tasee doo xam ne kii jullit sa wala gurmet parce que di same attitude dañ dee am ak xeet boo munti doon because ñu ñëpp dañ dëkka ñu yarawante waaye tamit kon ko léegi mu ngi am doole léegi yàqu-yàqute baa ngi am doole state bi am na responsibility
pour intervene.
te loolu we already have it in our existing laws. You cannot radicalize state assets, which is the youth. Loolu must lead to get into, because at the end of the day, it's also a threat to national security. Yung police la guy intervene, the biggest threat to national security mooy radicalization of young people. Because at the end of the day, ñoom soo leen if you radicalize them, they revolt and rebel against the state.
It's a problem.
So
basically, it's already in our laws, which means the implementation has to be reinforced.
It's a little bit complicated. For example, so create a gang. The first time nga gis time ya jama ñu deploy operation bulldozer. Right? They enforcing the laws, they protecting the society, and that has to continue. So am a gang bi nga xamantene ñi get into illicit intoxicants, right? They are doing something that's illegal in our laws. That is illegal. But the same, you recruit. What are so whole around the world? So guy they target terrorists. Actami. So not terrorists. You body for the dinner. No, I'm not looking at domestic terrorism. No more in 1995, Oklahoma bombing was what they call domestic terrorism. And you also have that also in here. Sometimes election ninga gis Muhammad ñoo tie ay jasi. These are all domestic terrorism. So dinga gis ñi nga xamante ne si yeneen dëkk yi even sun dëkk yi fii Gambia ak tamit neighboring countries su gars yi target gangs they target what they call the ringleader dinañ téye ñeneen ñi de but the most important mooy the ringleader kooku soo ko éliminer yaa ngi éliminer di nga noo ko éliminer
dismantle the gang
da nga dismantle the gang da nga dismantle the ring kooku tam dina jox a lot of information pour nga mën a go after the others so it all starts here from intoxicants. So if you are intoxicated, you are out of this world. Dengan mereka di behavior sama lo, dengan haman gis nañ fi ñi nga xamante ne intoxicated and they kill people. So luñ pare ñu ne man defuma ko. Teyuma ko woon. Yaa ngi understand. Te gis nga dafa doy waar musu suñ luwaay right? Doo mun a create a gang wala even come up with content. Moo tax yeneen saa yi soo defee yeneen content police ñu ne invade because it threats national security. These are all issues that or factors that threat national security.
But I want to come in here. Maybe you think we are spending more time, but this is very important.
No, it's really important.
Who is creating gangs? The government is creating gangs.
Who's creating what?
Gangs. The government is creating gangs. You see, we've seen that. When people have access to do things, who is giving them that access? For example, we have ecstasy pills. We have people arrested at the airport. We have drug that should be burnt, it's not burnt. You know, these people are doing things because they are intoxicated, because they are getting access to things that they should not. He said, we have the laws, and that's true, we have the laws. But why are these laws not implemented? Look, this we make it a very big thing. But what about those that are actually destroying our future, stealing it away from us? The access to liquor in this country, and poor liquor, bad liquor, is a concern. Now, that is what I always argue. Systematically, the government is creating more harm because if you illegitimize cannabis, for example, you make alcohol free everywhere. The boys now are not stupid. They tell you, come on, cannabis $100 in your policy de marite. And nobody has any issue with that.
Yeah, because you won't be arrested
Yes.
for how much you drink.
And I have said this over and over. I have written papers on this as well. There should be a quota system. If you supply Costa Road 10 drums of alcohol, look at the population and know the market size. But they can even sell 10,000 drums of alcohol and nobody questions that within a week. Why are we not looking at these things? People who are supposed to protect the society, the future, are the ones actually messing. These gangs are created out of that. Systematically, the society is creating different types of people because we are not enforcing the laws. We are creating the circumstances that will promote that. The same. We watch Nigerian, most of Nigerian movies now are porno. Let's be frank. And we watch, and nobody would come to, let's say anything about that. No control on our social media. Australia is controlling their social media. Australia.
Same with China.
This is it. And they are progressing. We are not doing that.
China, where TikTok is.
Yes. They are controlling it. So why I'm saying this
It's
is
not as toxic to the creators. It's not as toxic
if you give chance,
the consumers.
If you give chance to people to see things, they form opinion out of that. They form attitude out of that. So we need to control these things. Instead of controlling political comments, we control these social issues, these sexual issues. More than Manila, systematically, it's the government that is creating it. Because I have seen people now that men cannot satisfy. It's ecstasy and heroin and other things that can. Because they have access to it. How many times have we seen people being reported who are actually doing it, but they will pay. They will be awarded small fine, they pay, they go their way. And they're still happening. Can you tell me what is happening with the NDA drug investigation? They bond this, they not bond anything?
The white cement.
Yes, anything.
Yeah.
So these are the big issues. Unfortunately, no Gambia, generally Gambians will not talk about those ones. They'll talk about things that really don't matter. So more than one, yes, the parents come to this street, we are doing all we can. But the government, as I always tell, the institutions that are established, they have the absolute power. Munna could change. But they are not changing it. Look at our border policy. It's causing problems. I tell people, when anyone comes to your house, the spray or the perfume that he or she wears, he leaves the scent of it when he leaves your house.
Yeah.
The same thing with people coming unvetted.
Yeah, and then I'm like,
So when they behave and do anything in this country, people are copying. People are taking it. Sometimes,
you see,
whether they know it or not. So if a government comes with a border policy, you are creating that because, you see, culture is an element of national security. Culture is an element of national security. When you infiltrate people's culture through some of these policies, you are trying to, dilute the very substance of any way of life. Because for them now it's acceptable. They are seeing other people doing it. You condemn your child. I tell people that people are mad in this country. Everybody. You know why? You tell your child in your house that so that you're even confused what to take and what not to take. That's the situation that we have. So government needs to control what it needs to control. But believe it, I always tell people the one who will inherit Barrow would be it's going to be very difficult. And people think it's politics. No. The fake society the way people even now see things. You
wanted to say
I wanted to say that this is an interest to the state, and the state should take it with an immense, with interest, in a sense.
An open mind.
Yeah. In a sense, they have put up stringent measures and control the use and distribution of illicit substance. The crime rates in those countries are low. Tey suñ toogee fii nii ñu ngi dégg rey nañ kii sàcckat bi dugg na fii nii te nañ ñii du ngi dugg si banque si ñu ngi dégg loolu yëpp the root cause ñu suñ soo defee advocacy they have what they call the three problem, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? The three problem dafa day one like the root cause yi garab bu nekk am na lii roots. Right? am na taxawaay am na maxaas boo jiyee dara tey ren yi moo njëkk a jug mu dem ba si kaw mu commencé di am maxaas waaye boo ko jiyee nga xamante ne lii baaxul nga buddi ko du am maxaas so nañ xool what the root causes of all of these are.
Right.
yaa ngi understand tey ñu ngi wax ëllëg government mi tam ñu fa nekk tomorrow they could be a victim. gis nañ fi ku toog ki raxam toog defu dara ñu fekk ko si negam rek.
waaw
léegi sàcc before dañoo sàcc nga daw waaye léegi da ngay rey sàcc. te is normal te gis nga amoon na time gis nga state gis nga government bu jëlee benn position mu wax wala njiit bi génn mu wax daf day send a signal not only to Gambians but also non-Gambians, but at the same time those non-Gambians or criminals that wanted to come to Gambia. Time ba ubu noonu ba nga déggee yaa mu ngi naan ku fi rey ñu rey in law te gis nga lii is in our laws right now. Most of the gis they will sentence someone else to death. Some they sentence to death by hanging. You go to the US, they also have that. They sentence people to death. Yang nga the same Oklahoma issue bu ma nekkoon that person also sentenced to death. Recently gis nañ fi ñu fi pengu ga de so dëkk bu nekk dafa am lu am te man ko dama ko def always te man su ma xamee ne su ma la mbéjee dañu ma téye du ma la mbéj moom dama ko dee wax si plateforme yu bari. If man knows the consequence of their action, they will act legally. What I did they were in law should be predictable. Law should be predictable because su ma xamee ne su ma reyee dañu ma rey wala du ma reyee su ma saacee gis nga amoon na fii nii time dañ ne xam benn 40 ba naka borom su gën a 40 ñaata yoon na ko téye kooku ñu bàyyi ko soo ko téye nga génne ko mu dem sàcc. So if you had put that person and people like him behind bars, all the potential victims will not be victimized. So moo tax state laws, public laws should be respected and executed. Yeah. So demee Saudi Arabia tey seen dëkk yi tey even juuju pour dugal juuju téere boo demee si airport bi am na ku si gaa téye ñu daaxa ko ñu deport ko because téere la yore ñu ne kii nii dafa andi téere pour con someone else that is already in their country whether kooku Saudi Arabia or not. They don't care. What they care about mooy protecting people living within their territory. So téere su nekkee dëkk boobu noonu bañ ñen ñu andi téere bi nga xam ne dafay yaaxal keneen si biir dëkk bi. How about us si ay substance. So we have to be dañu war a sawar.
The takeaway in that téere is ne because téere bi mun naa nekk ne sa téere bu baax la bu pour that individual waaye ñoom ñu protect a greater good
society
than one person.
Yeah, they protect
so
society.
How much téere boobu nu mu baaxee si ki ko taka ñoom they will rather protect the entire country against the téere than allow your younger duga when it is not good even a union. So to put the interest of a community should be paramount and first and foremost than an individual or a smaller group.
And then you see, like this discussion be like you see when they are talking about the rise of crime rate in this country, man, I think like nguur moo ubbi bunta bi léegi ñun laajee suñu boppa
lan moo ubbi bunta bi
nguur
government
dafa fa ngeen ne góor
no
bàyyi la ka soose
government
No, baax na lakka.
no no so
Fii daal ñu ngeen train ñun.
yaa ngi train bàyyi ma train
waaye ni ko passé moo garaaw nguur la doon nguur mais mu ne góor la wax góor moo ubbi
omogo ma ne nguur fine it's okay so like you see
la ka soose
no bana no so you see Jang, let's look at it for example guest house jelle be jang in this country. I mean the guest houses, and did those guest houses have control? If you go to Senegal, just a guest house, for you to get into that guest house, you have to produce your ID card. You have to produce a document to show who you are, and they have to register it. They have a book, they have a logbook for it. But let's ask ourselves, how many guest houses are here in Milan? They even have a logbook. How many guest houses are in Milan? They have a requirement that even you are spending 1 hour there, they have to register you. This is the
Now let me ask you: is that an assumption, or you're talking from experience?
No. I'm trying to tell you.
Why are asking that question?
No. It's okay. It's okay. Because you have explained this as many. No problem. Yes. So imagine a guest. No. I'm talking about the society.
Yeah.
So if I have experience about it, well, whatever. I'm a moved.
You live in the society, you can have.
But no matter what, I'm talking to the public, right? So it's like now this takes me to what is the purpose of us having a Minister of Tourism in this country, per se. So what exactly, the Minister of Tourism, what exactly are they doing? Right. Okay. Now let's go into the immigration aspect. Because actually, luntangol mele ikadunjang. Wo luntangol nyulu ikadunjang ikatara suol lekono. Now let's look at our national rental act. Our rental act also. Like if you are giving a house to somebody, is there a process, a procedure me alonko before the boom dealer mola, you have to register the person. The person need to produce a documents and the like. All these things are not happening. So what is the saying this country, what is the purpose of us having a government? And what is the responsibility of the government? Because leader so, but right now, the way things are happening, the way people are doing things, this is why, Banko Kanjang, all these crime rates are going, Banko Kanjang, Luntongol Bejang, Luntongol Melialong, Malong Ibota Diamento, Manfen Lola Koto. They have no document. But if there is all this control, if Geneva more long you need to produce something about it. But even though, first of all, for example, government need to create a system per se. Let's say another ite buntio, for example, you cannot go to the police or so ever. Let them create a website also. If let's say you just go into online, you register the details will be in the system. I talk to the central police system. But
you are deflecting. Don't take our conversation to another one. No, you and Bojang will sit and write a position paper and submit it to them to give them this advice. Beautiful advices, and I'm sure when they follow it, it's going to make life better for us. But anyway, because we're quickly going to move to another topic before we get into the final topic of the discussion. But just to sum it up, the issue of the KMC, the submissions are wonderful. I think ñun ñëpp agree nañ ne njuumte xew na, fundamental human rights have been violated of course the woman and the child. And my main focus here is of course the woman, but then mainly the child. And I think ne comme ni ko Marr waxee rek xale bi is just unfortunately nekk at the wrong place, within a very wrong community, te amul ci benn business. But then suñ xoolee, in the long term, the impact, the effect, the damage, I think ne loolu war nañ koo seet buñ ko minimize. Dañ ko war a bàyyi xel torop ak ñu xool naka la ñoo protecté loolu noonu. Again, waxtaan bi fii nii ak comme ñu bari niñ koy waxee, KMC bind nañ a beautiful statement, and it's good ne acknowledge nañ ne, something that should not have happened, had happened, te ñu ngi koo ñaawlu. ñëpp di rafetlu loolu noonu waaye tamit comme niñ ko fi waxtaanee bu mu nekk for the optics like niñ dee gis lu bari muy xew su génnee wax bi bari nga génne just pour temper people's naka lañ ko waxatee sax agitations,
people's ego
to massage egos for the optics and just do this beautiful sweet talk and then everything goes right and all that. To be honest, the jigéen bi su dee yóbbu nañ ko to a court of law and she is found to be ne dëgg la dafa sàcc dafa am kum jën alam or whatever, loi mu ngi tegu pour kooku li war a tegu ci moom te loolu na tegu ci moom without fear or favor. Amu dara lu ceete understand nga buñ fàccaaloon da jigéen la da góor la nañ ko jaarale ci yoon and all that te jaarale ci yoon bi suñ ne loi tegu sa kaw du ne dañ la bañ o dañ la bugg a sonnal. It's supposed to be a deterrent pour yow nga xam ne doo ko defaat den keneen kuy seet mu gis ne lii de bu ma ko defee am na luy tegu suma ko buñ ko defoo loolu moo tax ñu ne loi muy tegu ci kaw ni so loolu nañ ko def. But again those KMC municipality police, they need to be looked into. The investigations, as they have said, it's going to be conducted, needs to be done in the quickest possible time, and then come back to inform the population of what has happened and what did they do and what they're going to do to those people. It's important that they do. What are those unending investigations? Every time we're investigating. It should not happen. And of course, everybody is watching, and we're going to continue to put pressure to ensure that we cannot accept such. If they need the training, let them be trained. If they need, consequences to be put on them, that needs to be done. It has to happen.
Just 2 minutes.
Yeah, go ahead.
And what are all the consequential effects of their action? Even the person is convicted. If she is guilty, you convict her. That stigma could be too much on her that commit suicide.
Yeah.
because mënut a xool doomam doom bi tamit mun naa jug dem màgg ba mag gis what is happening and that bullying mu commit suicide gis ne fi ñaata nit ñoo dee commit suicide because of bullying and stigmatization
yaay bi sa forever.
Wow. So that was moo tax ma ne it was an expensive error that cannot be taken back. It has already been put out to the World Wide Web. Millions of people, not only Gambians, everyone is actually going to look. Kooku tari tey su naroon tukki sa dem beneen dëkk. Gis nañ video bi so nit ñi dañ war a calculate the consequence of their actions. Te foog naa kon noo ko waxee. Those people need to be held accountable.
Oh yeah.
But that's the purpose of law. Te su ma xamee ne suma naataango defoon na lii téye nañ ko. So ba ma bañ faa dem. So they have to be held accountable. The same thing as well at government level. Ñi nga xamante ne they have also been guilty of such acts. Because gis nañ fii nii Alaaji Bora téye nañ police téye na ko fii mu door ko.
waaw loolu dafa sori di. yow sa IGB ak Minister of Lands former xanaa code bi lan la wax si affaire KMC. So this is the government is what that creates these things.
So war am accountability because loolu code bi yóbbu nañ ko code bi make na decision joxe na order. yaa ngi understand government have to respect that gi nga lii yeneen side don't look at it from a political lens. You should look at it from a legal lens and then also the future and stability of your country.
And our morality also to prevail.
Yi nga Sénégal lu fa xew di woon nekkutoon maa ngi dugg waaye it all related to what is happening right now in this country.
You are the guest. You have more liberty than anybody else.
What was happening in Senegal was more than Ousmane Sonko and Adji Sarr. It was a combination of anger that was building. Te gi nga doomi aadama xol bi is so sensitive su demee ba fees. Wala fi ne woon ñu ne ko pousse si maraj bi la ses si maraj bi la yem boo ko poussé ba eggee si maraj bi foofu la ses dafay retaliate. So state bi should not create that. They'll create an environment where people will be building up their anger bu demee ba explode dee moo leen ko gënal. So moo tax accountability has to happen not because kii nii suma minister la wala kii suma police la wala this is going to be at the advantage of the opposition. Do what is right and the country will be safe.
Move on. That's very, very important and good. Thank you very much, Marr, for that contribution. Again, do the needful. We'll be watching and we'll be holding you accountable. Again, the authorities in terms of this content creation for these young girls, they're young for God's sake. Let's allow these kids to grow. Let's not abuse them. Let's not abuse their innocence. Let's not abuse their ignorance in the name of creating content. Social media, dafa ñëw pour top def lu baax, ñëwul pour yaxa. For now, ñun ñoo nekk di ko use the yaxante and we can do better. So police let them do what they're supposed to do. The authority, parents yi tamit nañ gën a yokka. Suñ doon def benn nañ def juróom. Suñ doon def juróom nañ def fukk ak juróom pour gis ne xale yi grow nañ to be kids and then liñ war a doon ñu doon ko. Loolu tamit war nañ ñun ñëpp. It has to be our business. And kudos to Ousseynou Gambia for taking up the initiative parce que ñun ñëpp gis nañ ko waaye kenn si ñun jógut pour dem joytu ko fi nga xam ne fa lañ ko war a joytoo ñi nga xam ne am nañ yaakaar ne ñooñu war a saytu ñoo war a aar iir xale yooyu noonu kon di ko wax ngàcce ngaalaama li ñuy wax ne rek dëkk ci dëkk bi defar dëkk bee ko gën yow nag gis nañ ne Ousseynou yaa ngi dëkk ci dëkk bi dëkku lof rek waaye yaa ngi defar dëkk bi te ñu bari war nañoo roy si yow waaye nag du ma ne lu ma betta la parce que ku la xam-xam ne yow ci yii rek ngay dox kon ngàcce ngaalaama te sa effort si bu mu dem in vain na authority say do something. Let them seem to be doing something. Let them seem to be mitigating these actions you're having. You know, it's really, nobody will be proud of it. Now, let's move to something also that is of national interest and ñu ko waxanto. Gis nañ ne ñu ne there was a civil service audit and ñu gis ne ay ghost workers ñu ngi si system bi and that has cost us some millions of dollars, right? And all that. And mooy loolu daal ako jàkkaarloo warata brother Marr man dëkkee si yow si boobu noonu naka lañ ko waxatee loolu bi nga ko gisee naka nga ko gisee ak lan nga foog ne ban jubluwaay lañ ci war a am ba gis ne duñ ne dañ ko éradiquer 100% because again that has to do with the system waaye tamit bu mu nekk again for the optics bu mu nekk just a show off bu mu nekk loo xam ne pour massage pour put it a list on ne def naa li te jurut njëriñ parce que luñ mën a def rek njëriñ la war a jur njëriñ boo xam ne njëriñ pour askan bi yow bi nga gisee loolu noonu and sa involvement with everything Gambia lan mooy sa xalaat ci loolu noonu.
Well, lii nekkut something new.
Definitely.
Couple of years ago, Personal Management Office bu nekk léegi the Ministry of Public Service defoon nañ tamit this head count ñu génnee about 2000 over 2000 nit ñi nga xamante ne they were receiving salary but they were not actually working. So it's a good thing that the government is doing this because soo xoolee dafa funny because su ma tuddee ministry am naa gars yi dinañ ñëw attaque but the reality mooy the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Agriculture and Education, right? Good chunk of a payroll goes to those ministries.
Right.
And most of these ministries, then they provide scholarship. Then you guys provide scholarship ñu bari te ñooy dem def seen scholarship programme ñu abscond ñu bàyyi dëkk bi, right? So after seen programme ñu toog fa gars yi continue di receive salaries.
Through bank bi, yeah.
Wow.
Yes. Well, wala ñu dem through back way.
Yeah. Money will be going to their banks all the time.
So di nga gis
While they are not even in the
ñeneen ñi tamit domestic fraud within these ministries dafa dee am.
Dëgg
di nga gis koo xamante ne mu ne mu ngi liggéey Ministry of Health moom nurse la mu bàyyi Ministry of Health dem si private sector du report work at the hospitals end of the month ñu fay ko.
Oh wow.
Wala koo xamante ne tija la mu ngi liggéey si school yi xamante ne principal yi xamante ne head of the school ñu bañ a report ñu dem si private school ñu leen di fay but at the same time tamit government mu leen di fay. So lii dafa nekk li nga xamante ne dafa doy waar it goes back to the issue of integrity. dañ dee woo suñ government te ñii ñoo gën a mun a taxaw ne government dafa corrupt wala opposition corrupt ñoom seen boppa gisuñu loolu mu nekk ay issue pour ñoom dëkk xaalis yi réew mi la ñoom they have the right to access those payments because ñoom ñu ngi si système bi. So it's a good audit and I think it should continue. Léegi lu war a am mooy naka tudda dañ war a am foog naa in some ministry guy def nañ ko but it's not respected mooy check in and check out devices. Su nekkee ba maa nekk government at this point damay outsource payroll as a pilot for certain ministries to an individual firm. Mun naa nekk sax an audit firm bi nga xamante ne audit firm boobu noonu dafa am at the end of the month dafay generate the data from those check in and check out devices. Mu xool yow ban time nga ñëw ban time nga génn xam nga yenn saa du nekk rek nga check in nga ñëw dugg si am na ñoo xam ne dinañ check in kon tey for example nga check in ba pare nga génn. Amoon benn time ma dem si lopitaan bi dama doon uti benn kayit ma laajte boromam ñu ne kooku noonu kooku su ñëwee dafay dem si marché ba ñu ataaya. No, honestly speaking, yeah, that's what they do.
Absolutely.
Wow. Dafay dem ataaya ji naan ba pare mu ñëw liggéey. So moo tax si yeneen dëkk advanced countries they pay you by
Based
hours.
on hours, yeah.
So dañ ko war a pilot because it is a loss of resources to the state.
Huge
You invest in you. But the public that are waiting for you to process certain documentation, at the end of the month, you fail. So the state doesn't owe you. You owe the state.
Right.
Because the time that you have signed with the state, more than I spend 8 hours. Then they work overtime. See, I clinic, see, hospital, see, wala see, school, see. Why there are black ships. For example, during the COVID-19 period, Minister of Health, then deny that first proposed list of allowances because guidance for Andy I ghost names. Dito fa yaga season system. Dafa yaga. Then understand the ghost names you know. Lu fa guy def moy ñeneen dafa def sen turi jabar, ñi def sen turi domi ak ñeneen.
Subhanallah.
Yes. When you receive that allowance list, te ñoo fi gën a dafa doy waar dafa doy waar dëkk bi nu téye alali réew mi right so lii yëpp dafa am lu ñu dee jàngal mooy lack of accountability because ñeneen tamit it's not justifiable. There is no way that you can justify that. ñeneen ñi seen base which is illegal at the end of the day waaye morality wise daf dee fuel daf dee influence corruption because di nga dégg ñi nga xamante ne ñun suñ gars yi directeur yi ñu ngi jël ay millions so ñun tamit suñ time la pour ñu mun a am ci dara comme que ñoo ñu ngi jël millions kenn waxu leen dara ñun tamit dinañ def suñ def moo tax accountability should be consistent
right
across the board yeneen dëkk yi soo gisee ñu def punitive actions punitive penalties on corruption to an extent that you could be executed loolu yëpp it goes back to what you were saying pour ñu jàngal ñeneen ne lii is the consequence of your action soo ko defee so that you are able to predict the consequence of your action so ghost workers yi yàgg nañ fi waaye man way forward du ma nekk di recommend mooy loolu président mi waxoon na ko fi mu ne naka tudda di nga gis ñi nga xamante ne dañooy ñëw liggéey duñ def that much te ñun la ñuy fay. li yëpp goes back
ñooy mujjee ñëw ba pare ñooy
njëkk a ñibbi te loolu is a typical Gambian attitude both in government ba pare also in private sector soo gisee fii nii tamit most investors yi gars yi dee discourage ñu bàyyi Gambia they invest in the other countries ñi nga xamante ne they will have a better workforce
and attitude towards work
staff lii la because da ngaa ñëw Gambian si yeneen establishment both government ak private sector nga ñëw force asalaamaaleykum ñu ne loo bëgga wala nga ne hello how are you ñu andi lay kanam bu ñàng yes nit ñi am nañ seen personal issues nit ñi am nañ yeneen issues for example low pay before the 10th of the month yaa ngi sa xaalis bi jeex na yaa ngi stress these are all understandable right and these issues should be addressed right waaye soo demee yeneen dëkk yi you can actually sue that office or that company for the way that you have been treated. More than this notion that the customer is always right and the customer comes first, the citizen always comes first as well.
That's right.
So dama suñ public service mi ngi deteriorate loolu mooy dëgg bi the substance the quality of our public service is deteriorating with an alarming speed and because we are allowing it we are condoning it.
We're normalizing.
Yeah, am na ku ma fi waxtaanoon mu ne ma ne dafa amoon fii nii restaurant mu ne I cannot survive because tey dañ maa wane suma anti dafa gaañu suma maam dafa feebar wala suma anti dafa am ngénte suma cousin jëkkëram moo am today.
They expect you to understand and give them time
every now and every week. yaa ngi waxee kooku noonu excuse mu lay bàyyi kooku dafa am business the business boobu has to work for you to be paid. The state also has to be functioned for the country to run. Resources has to come in. Tey su ma demee uti passport nga jël ay 3 months keneen tamit mu ñëw jël mu yàgga this is not a free service we are paying for it. yaa ngi understand tey why do we have to give our port to other people, companies to actually manage it?
They say we are serious.
With us 80%.
Yeah. Now look at recently.
Huge embarrassment and an indictment.
But why hold on there. All how we poorly manage our assets. ñu ne dañ ko jox ñu jox ko this private company. But that private company, Bagado knew there was too much opposition. And that is right because state should know how to run its businesses.
Right.
So private company, when you recently, that company records zero queuing at our ports.
Yes. It's container terminals.
So why?
Because of efficient management. Why is it that we could not do that?
It needed equipment or sophisticated gadgets.
They said they did not bring anything.
Or whatever and things like that. So
They said
basically
they
it's
did not bring
management.
Mooy management because dañ teg ñi nga xamante ne dañ war a ron suñu institution ñu téye seen loxo ñoom nañ leen fay ñu jugee foofu noonu enjoy seen life dëkk bi nga yeneen saa suñu jugee last year ba noonu jugee at this time te mooy lan the 2024 last year at this time ba noonu jug ñun doon wax yi ni ba gars yi ñu arrest lii la gars yi gisutoon lii leen doon wax.
The ferry insurance.
The ferry insurance.
Kama jox la one interesting issue. Most of corporate institutions they are very smart in the way they do business. And you know what about the inefficient management and the loss of revenue to the state? Kay arrest ñu. Di nga léegi beneen compagnie bu gaay nekk di jox pour mu operate ferry. Ñu ngi am benn strategic location. So ñëw Banjul, you first come to contact with them. Si boori Jah Oil.
Boori Jah Oil bi,
Why will I waste my time man dama dem because terminal bi fële.
Traffic bi.
Ñooñu lay first come into contact. So ñooñu su nga amee several vessels, ñu dem di ñëw. Why will I bother go to Gambia ferry service? Why? Yi nga Sierra Leone loolu la gaay def, then a coach, then a high a long route from Longi to Freetown. So ñu am benn company ku ñëw andi ferry services. You pay a lot of money.
Oh yeah,
for that.
Actually, it's two of them. You have well, I won't call the names because
you have the ferry, you have the coach as well.
Yeah, you have two private companies, and then you have the national ferry.
Exactly.
As well. But then you have the option of taking the long route by road as well.
About
so
3 hours.
basically, it's like
so look at the
options.
Look at the business here. Key ñëw na established in a strategic location. Now that is going to be a revenue loss to the state.
Huge
revenue loss to the state. And we have to go with the company because we are a customer. The state has to, it's a state-owned company. They have to treat citizens not only that they are providing service to them, but they also have to treat them as customers. So, legi boobu noonu bu ñëwee, we have revenue loss on the ferry, we have revenue loss on the ports, and then you name it, the airport, you name it. So
I'm going to change. I'm going to change. I mean, you see, when we sit here, we time ourselves, but as you get into the conversations, ideas come and you start, wanting to highlight issues because dafa bari.
Yeah.
Issues see more bari. You understand? So it's like if you want to talk about it seriously, oh my God. I'm going to change protocol today. I'll go directly to my brother here, right?
No problem.
Saibo, sa halat ci lolu noonu.
Yeah, so I think first it's a good thing the government did the staff audit. But come Marr Nyang ko waxe 2018, 2019 that was head counting. And the PMO did a head counting and over 2,400 plus ghost workers were detected in the system.
That was when Amadou Sane was finance minister.
Yes, around that time. Yeah, exactly. He was finance at that time, I think. Something like that happens, and I think most of it also was the teachers, like he said, the Ministry of Education and Agriculture. But now, what happens to those ghost workers at that time?
Yeah.
What accountability measures were put in place to ensure that? Because for me, it's two-way. First, there are people out of that 2,000. I am sure there are people that were still receiving salary, especially those that goes on bank line. You don't interact with them. You don't even have to see them. Every month, the paymaster sends the money to their bank line. But now, what happens to the payments that goes to the counter? Where was the paymaster taking them back? Returning it back to our accountant general, or they were recycling it into the system? That is one. Two, what systems were put in place to avoid harboring ghost workers into our workforce? Because we have detected another 1,500 ghost workers, right? In between, something happened. You see, we cannot continue tracking them. Because in between, anytime we said, okay, next 2 years again, we are going to do head counting, within the 2 years, we are going to lose a lot of revenue. And then one thing, that the highest amount of our budget goes to salaries. Now let's match that to the productivity level of our civil service.
Oh, sure, you don't want to get there.
It's very poor. Like I gave an example. You see, in the First Republic, we had a very efficient civil service, even though it has butts. But now our productivity level in this country, our service delivery is so poor. And do you know why? It's two: ghost workers and redundancy in the service. An office that needs 5 people is taking 10 people. Others will come and just make coffee and drink and go home. Like he said, you came to office, sign in, sit down, but then I want them see marse pour nan ataya. But you deliver service. Do you know why? Because you are not needed in the system. But you are brought because you are a nephew or an uncle to Saibo that is the PS or somebody. Okay, do you suma dom ligay. Palas nekul fa dañu hejante. This is what is happening in our system. And that is why top of the priorities of the coalition government was civil service reforms. You see, the TJ, the transitional justice, the constitutional building, all of these things, you see, the system, there is a both systematic and structural problem in this country. And it's not going to work with a new constitution. It's not going to work with reparations and everything. It's only going to work if we, those who deliver those services, are refurbished. That we ensure that our Minister of Education, our Minister of Agriculture, our police don't just pay people and wear uniform and go to office, but they deliver services that matches the productivity level that we expect. This is what, you see, I think we should start shifting the way we pay. If I work in Italy, because I'm paid for the hours I work. If I pay for 1 hour, they pay me €10, I go home. So now you see people working 24 hours because they want to be paid more. But if you say you are paid 10,000 direct, either you work or not, people will feel like, okay, it's permanent. So I will not go to work and I'll still get paid. But also because even those who are in that authority making that decisions don't go to work and they get paid. A minister will leave his office and go to a political rally when he's supposed to deliver services, right? And then at the end of the day, he gets paid. So if somebody else leaves the office to go and drink coffee, so there is not tracking. And in the 21st century, why are we even talking about staff audit, physical staff audit or manual staff audit? Head count, like Kinumwa. Like there is simple. You come into the office, let's have every staff at the ministries and the department got a card, like my school. They know I come to school or not through a card. Nobody opens the door for me. I come, think the door is open, Saibo is in school today. I leave the campus, I am out of campus, and I'm tracked the number of days I come to campus every week and every hour. Why can't we do that in the 21st century? That is why we are supposed to shift and incorporate technology into our governance system and move from manual governance to e-governance. It's happening everywhere.
Right.
But you know also why they will not do that. Sometimes it's refusal. Because these people also benefit from these crimes. It's not just those who are getting paid. They receive benefits from this, so they entertain it. Time to time, they know gain like through massage sun ego, asking sun ego. Like, okay, the government is doing right because we all said, okay, the head count or the audit is good and all of that. But the root cause, like Marr Nyang, the root cause of this problem is not just the ghost workers. It's the system. And we need to revamp that system. We need to ensure that now, moving forward, people are held accountable at individual levels for being ghost workers and receiving our... Because yesterday, iAfrica, they play one video. Hanga kogunuwa. Mune so se mang hako tuye. Because nteleke jo. You see, people are getting aware. Before, an ordinary Gambian, my mom in Bantaba will feel like whatever service delivery is done is a favor. But now today, somebody, not Saibo, not Marr, who is supposed to understand the issue, is telling you that then you search at take biomale, haha. But also, yes, but also he went further to say it's the responsibility of the kind of leadership we have, and that's true. Leadership is fundamental in how a government is run. If leadership is not vigilant, you see, Barrow sitting in State House doesn't need Bakari Badi or Dr. Sise to go to State House every cabinet meeting to report. There should be that little system. Look, civil society are having that reporting, how to call it, technology in reporting now. Marr could sit in his office and his programs is in Berlin, is in Banjul, or is in Dakar, and then the tracking system, whatever I write, Marr sees it directly and is direct reporting. But you have to wait for people that are not efficient to report the efficiency of other people. That is problematic.
Every week.
That is problematic. That is serious problem.
That's a very good point. And you see, it actually also have, it impacts the government themselves. The redundancy and the unproductivity of the civil service and then the staff of itself affects the government itself. Recently, that document that leaked, right, was not supposed to leak.
Oh yeah, about the medical bills.
It was not supposed to leak. But Suneke, you condone these issues in the public service, it actually haunts you back.
Yeah.
So what we are saying here is actually in the best interest of the state.
And also, one thing, you see, they've frustrated leadership. You see, the last time President Barrow said there are people that undermine his government, civil service that are undermining his government. He politicized it. It's not politics. It's simply because there is no efficiency in service delivery, and people hold you accountable as the head, and you believe they are politics. No, it's not been politics. It's about people in the offices are not working. But also, let me tell you one thing. Competence in the service system. Let's say, I keep saying, in the Minister of Agriculture, I was just telling Marr not long ago, in the Minister of Agriculture, you have the high number of PhD holders and master's degree.
Yeah.
Ministry of Economic Affairs, we have the highest number of master's degree holder and all of this. But now let's look at those ministries. How is the Ministry of Economy, in fact, looking at diversifying our economic gain?
Efficiency and productivity level.
All what they do is the realistic nature of what they find in office. No creativity, no innovation, right? You go to agriculture, buy now. Why are we buying rice at 2,300 in this country? Go to Jakari Pachat. But the whole idea is we are office people. Not the reality on the ground, not how things should go. Man, they might join Gambia participate or fact check center today. Luma for feka, low light topper. Nobody will assess me. I don't like, okay, let's do it this way. This is how it happens, but let's do it this way. And let me tell you one thing. The world is moving on an idealistic way. Absolutely. This is how things supposed to happen, not how things are happening. So I think the government, individual, there is a need for self-accountability, integrity. I'm not working for the government. What am I jail halisi government? Why also there is external accountability, because human being in nature is biased. All right, but now the external accountability is supposed to be, you're not delivering services you are hired for, you're not supposed to be paid. Nene, it's that simple.
Accountability. Boja.
Kay
oh, structural problem.
Yes, you see,
systemic problem.
You see, I attended an interview. I will not name the institution. I am a green belt 6 Sigma holder. I hold 6 Sigma green belt. When you go to the West, you hold that. That's next to black belt. The one who was interviewing me was telling me, is it karate? Okay, so that tells you that they don't even know things that the world actually are into now. You were working on the Java, no computer.
Talibu mantara jang. Bari hanin kabi abe show jubela. A breakdown. Break it down for you.
You see, Lean Six Sigma is an area of specialization that looks at elimination of waste in any process. How do you eliminate waste? In any process. How do you eliminate cheating? I always tell people, you know why it cheats people? University of the Gambia cheats people. How are they cheating people? Okay, you paid your examination fee and everything. You've written your exams. They need to give you your examination paper. They say you have to pay for you to be given that. When you pay that, why university say you have to get the authentication, whatever, token and all those bullshit. It's kidding. It's kidding.
But we have accepted it as a people.
This is what I'm saying. But how do we detect these flaws that are draining our national coffers and even our spending power in our houses? Lean Six Sigma comes into play. How do you eliminate the processing time of our processes? How do you eliminate duplications? This is it. A quick example that most of us have actually learned, which is a methodology. This is very common in the Asian countries, Japan, just in time. You as a manufacturing company, you go up to a certain level when you buy 20 million worth of parts of a car. You don't need a store anymore. Tell the supplier that just in time. You have to be within around. If I need 10 minutes, I just pay you, bring me. I am not going to pay for storage for that. Because it is you who has the product. Why would I store it? You should be the supplier. Supply it to me when I need it. That way, you now eliminated the security guard that you need to pay, the warehouse, the electricity and everything. That's what Lean Six Sigma looks at. To streamline all processes. So now if you have a director asking me, And by the way, I did not get the job. I was waiting for.
I was waiting to ask.
So it's like key jangut, key hamut. Because anything that you do in this world, there are 8 ways. 8, you call it team roots. And part of the last waste is what? Underutilization of your employees. This guy is very good at different things, but you are only using him for one thing. You are underutilizing him, meaning you are wasting.
And you bring other people for the other
This
things.
is it.
Yeah.
But who is going to talk to the people when the directors themselves will be asking you if it is karate? Who is going to tell the president who actually told you, I don't know?
I knew very well that they will not hire you for that job.
So this is the problem. So this is the problem in this country. Now, they have said very brilliant things here. You met Jawara paying people monthly. Yeah, you may pay people monthly. Why can't you change it to hourly? If I go to job, that is it.
Paid.
I'm not good, but I serve as a dental manager for a clinic, a private clinic in this country. And you know what? They have home base software. If I'm 5 minutes to work, it will send me an SMS direct to my email. Email will come that you should go to work because this much time is left. If my time is also 10 minutes to close, it will alert me. If I don't sign out with my PIN, it will record it as overtime. And so I just sit and just click. It will bring me the entire data. Saturday, you went to work from this time to this time. You spend this much hours, this much minutes. You got this much overtime. And you're supposed to be paid this much based on your scale. Now, who is going to cheat? But they wouldn't do it because it favors them. It really favors them. More than innovation. Young if a man get the knee. Why do you think you can do it much better? Create something. But the reality is this. Some people are on secondment, self-secondment, not even government, self-secondment, and they are receiving. You see, I had a colleague teacher. Probably he is working. He may not say, I don't say his name. When he left the school, when I was teaching at Marr as the English and literature teacher, and he left, he went to a department, and part of departments you name here, that's where he went to, and he was on the human resource. He walked to me and came to me and said, Billahi wallahi talai, if teachers die, they are going to Jannah. I said, okay. He said, I got access to our database and I've seen people are receiving money without even going to work. He said, I see a lot of things. You know, a newbie from the teaching field, only chalk, dust. You don't have any rabba. You go there, you're seeing how these rabba happen. You think, teachers are saints. Because that's what he told me. He said, believe it or not, Nintol Fata because the level of whatever he was seeing happening somewhere else. He told me, I've seen people that are even dead and they're still receiving salary. Who is benefiting that? Who is benefiting from that? The guy who is actually authorizing it is benefiting. That's the truth.
They put it in an envelope and take it to the graveyard. The person.
So this is the level. This is the level. That you have some within them, they know. But what can they do? And again, we are talking about ghost workers. We have institutions in this country where only family members work.
Yes.
That's the truth now.
Yes.
Our grandfather bijane, our uncle bijane, a farmer doko can resign to I can tell you this. No, I used to hire a female worker. And she resigned because there was an opportunity at where the father used to be. The father is dead, she needs to go and replace. That's how she resigned from my little business. These are things that we see, we know.
Your business was not lucrative, so
I was not paying much as they could pay.
You need to add more to it so that you can retain people.
So this is the issue.
Yeah, can you wrap up? So
Yeah, now, I agree that we need to change even the way we pay. Because as he puts it, we need to pay based on performance. That is why Bahonala Kumbe, there was a time he said performance contract. I was happy. I was watching and I just jumped. I said, now he's talking. But I don't see the performance up to now. Because I cannot understand why, for example, even though, Bakari is a very good brother of mine, as in, if I want to see him, I can see him. And so,
which of the Bakaris?
Bakari, Ministry of Youth.
Okay.
But I cannot understand why you cannot finish some tax and still I'm promoting you. Nani Juara was at Nawek and then there was nothing happening. You take him from that to some other place. We know how the system works.
Yeah, so they recycle. That was the
This is the
Jawara
problem.
style of, okay, you have still enough here, you are not performing here, go and destroy the other place while somebody also tests here. That's the attitude. How do we move?
Yes, how do we move then?
Recycling poor service delivery.
So, and then that's the truth. So, anyways, I'm sorry.
But bayo.
Yeah.
Ite yenyi kuoje nyadile, ila jero for quickly, and then we move to.
Nene, Adiamu said Bakale. You see, for me, I am not celebrating that. I'm not celebrating it.
Okay.
Yeah, because why should I celebrate it? Should it even happen?
Okay.
Because something may along already, 2018, 2019,
No,
already you know it, you be caring. But men before 2018, I mean, government have achieved this. I'm not achieved. Because the problem is, I don't remember understand. I mean, Barrow, the biggest problem of Barrow is, ikamentan di Barrow la ulum nyunduko, ibe sonna la keten because ya jembele wato o jawra wara ka keten andum that is the way me alon ko jawra ya soto, that is the way me alon ko ya jembe ya soto. Ne mul bala nyinna at the end of it, mul be boletole. It's like, because the problem is, it's like molu man la is falling wala. And government fana ajoko mol man la falling wala ni na falung samala mol kandoron mol be bolentole. That is the reality here. Government vehicle policy. It is one of the things may up to now. How many millions you will budget for fuel? How many millions you will budget for maintenance? Come on. So the same system will be carrying. The same system will continue. And let me tell you something. 2017, 2018, there was companies they approached the government for e-government. Yes, they came to Gaipa. They came to Gaipa and they even came to Gaipa to do a pilot project for the e-government. We had, the Dr. S03 at some point, it was even referencing, I think, is it one of the country, one of the country in Asia, that is the system exactly what they're doing. So, among the solution is not there. The solution is there. But the problem is they will not do it because they are not going to benefit from the solution. If the solution comes, it will come and so they will leave the system to continue. So, maybe they celebrate loud. Why should I celebrate that? Because caring will be caring. That is what is that is what Barrow is interested of. That is what his ministers are interested of. So this is why Ndolu alkafu menoko performance at the killer. Kafu moloko dokudla performance la killer. What kind of performance are you telling us? Dokudla better performance? No. Performance if you want to have, you have to have a realistic performance. More each and more be dokola dulanyendo. At left follow la performance follow, even will learn na follow. In our global performance law. But say let's say for example, Ndol jang be dokola jang. More kemel be dokola jang. But let's say more talul dorong, will be doko keka anyama. The other 100 are not working. So do you think nyanda can men deliver but deliver? That deliver. It's not, let me tell you something. When we came to the council in Brikama, this is one of the first things that men attack our payroll. It was one of the first things that men attack because now look, this is exactly what is going on. Now look, you never care. And do you know what we did? So Kabiru Tumo for now we do a quarterly check. A quarterly check because look, imagine.
So there are no leakages in your payroll.
No leakage. No, there were leakages in our payroll.
I know there were leakages.
Yes.
But your council doesn't have leakages. You make sure that you're only paying people that are delivering service.
Yes. We make sure that we only pay people they are delivering service. What happened was
there's a difference between people that are in position and people that are delivering service. Sometimes you politicians are funny.
Okay. Now, come.
Central government have its problem, but you also act like the same.
I'm listening.
You can recruit people for the sake of recruiting them. We have seen a lot of that in your councils as well. I will not go into details.
No, you can go into
right? No. It's not necessary to go into detail.
Go into detail.
We don't want to go into detail for the purpose of time.
Yeah, for the purpose of time. But there are level of I have worked in council. And I know some of these problems are very, very systematic, like we mentioned, that is not easily wiped out. And in those councils, the problems there were as a result of political affiliation, because each of the political parties, I'm gonna say Geweli, I'm gonna say Ndogu, if you get into council, you come with them.
What is Ndogu?
People that just follow for the sake of following.
Dogo.
Lakabi.
It's funny, learning.
Sister, you understand? So I want us to be clear that we mean that there is absolute efficiency and productivity, and then everybody under your payroll right now is delivering services efficiently and effectively, and there are no leakages.
Oh, yes.
What did you do to get to that level?
We are talking about Bedam Kajaka Omar. When we came to the council, this is what we found. Kajako, in our payroll, there were people, Malayalonko, even a payroll auto, will father. And
they were paying them.
Bro,
Just funny.
Where was the pay? Where was the salary going to?
But we found their name in our payroll. So, what we did was the payroll screen follow. That is the first thing we do. Now, the second thing is about the performance. The performance. So, you see, let's say if you go to our revenue collectors, revenue collection, the council was having nothing more than 80 million per year. But because after doing that, tax we were able to make almost 156 million. Almost 156 million. So that can tell you, now the performance of the people we are paying, is now, we're seeing the dividends. Okay. Because it's not like a mojo when you are not seeing anything.
So the spending is reflecting in the productivity.
Yes.
Interesting.
This is what exactly I'm telling you. So because the thing is, central government, more small central government. That's just why in Yajibe you have a minister. Among the minister, you have a permanent secretary. Among the permanent secretary, you have directors. Among the directors, you have all the people working under those people. What is their responsibility? What is their role? Every day they are going to work. What exactly are they doing? Because there is somebody, and then if you go to all this document, there is somebody responsible for the staff matters. So the human resources officer now, what is his job? What is his job? What is he doing? And the person is reporting into Akamina reporter. Well, almost how many years the same thing is going on. Government have, government more killing Kemalula. It's all politics. Politics them 7 years in power, 8 years in power. Kukino, you experience already. And now the worst part of it now, you have a specific minister. You minister minister will responsible to not only a permanent secretary. Now you have a minister. You have a specific ministry responsible for that. Hey.
Yeah, but for me, I think if I'm going to rate, in fact, the ministry responsible for efficiency is the most efficient. Inefficient rather. Okay. Like the Ministry of Public Service, I've not seen what they have done. So I'm not gonna get into this. So sometimes it's also good to look at the kind of setups you made. Because that guy, aside from the last time in Mansakunda, I don't know what the ministry is doing actually to ensure that there is efficiency in the public service. And it becomes unnecessary to create some of those things. But we leave that debate for another time.
Let me tell you something. It's not only that ministry. Let me tell you something. There is something going on in this country, Mayor Longo. Regardless of Ibe Pate Jumaldo. Ajele B Nimbango Kanjang. Left a yafonye. All these embassies Melialongo Nesoto Nimbango Kanjang. Left you name me at least 3 or 4 embassies Melialongo. Ye fende samana Nimbango Kan. Because Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as we are speaking today, as we are speaking today, the employment, the appointments, who is responsible for those appointments?
That's a question that, I think let's leave it to the viewers.
Okay. Anyway, it's all right.
It's okay. For them to ponder on those questions.
Okay.
And
Let's move on.
For them to ponder on those questions.
Yellow,
And possibly to be able to find
let me
answers
tell
or
you
whatever,
something.
because we need to move on.
Yellow, cook limbo fele. Aje B. Momo yalon ko be political kono. Neatale be political kono nyinala because of mbafole la idea, mbafole la mendi aron tuloe. I mean, it's not among the politics me yalon control la jamano, we should allow it. Mba folele menyente kela anu menyente kela na make sure na bambango kang anu na make sure at any time I ale opportunity dinner na make sure work. Right now you see people alongo, you were, for example, before imantara masakunda kono, you were criticizing the government ene do masakunda kono, now you men criticize kan okukilimo ibo condone kan. This is why today people are looking at them as inconsistent. This is because you are the one criticizing the government about some of those things. Being at Masakunda Kono, you are the cooking the change. There are people here economy. Central Bank is president.
Anyway, for the purpose of time, it's important. These are things that we will definitely discuss. For the purpose of time, let's not deflect to something else. Exactly. We will move. But the submissions are very, very important, and I guess ne ñun ñep jangé nañ ci ñuy sétan tamé, because it's not about us ñuy sétan tam ñu sé jangé. It's good for them to be seen to be trying to put the checks and balances, to be trying to fix the system or seemingly fix the system pour yep njëriñ ak jëm kanam. Waaye tamit su nekkee ne def ko rek la pour for the optics, def ko rek la pour nit ñi ne ñu ngi def lu baax te gisuñ ci njëriñ yield benefit tamit, loolu tam naxaate la. You understand? Loolu naxaate la comme ni nga ko waxee rek ma la waxee ne time yi 2017 2018 lii su luñ jaaroon la te normally man gisuma de reason lan moo tax ñu def ko war koo defaat, which means bañ ko defee woon wokkutoo bañ ko defee woon am na loo xam ne jaarutoon yoon, parce que su doon ne loolu fix nañ ko once and for all, right, fooguma ne dinañ ci doon war a jeexalaat because continuity la moo war a nekk, because dëgg la ñu ngi hire new people, so ñooñu tam needs to be checked ak yooyu noonu. Waaye now the problem I have here is like data. You don't just come and say, okay, we have done an audit, fee ak fee, lii lañ fekk fofu noonu. It's not enough because loolu moo xewoon in the past. Moo taxit kenn mënut a monitor pour gis ne ndax loolu wokkoon na ndax wokkut, ndax yield na benefit ndax yieldul benefit, because the data is not there for us to compare from then and now ndax dëgga is an achievement as they call it or not. Because it's not available. Man fofu la ko waxe nañ di make sure ne ñu document yi ni sen suñ ko document ñom mi nga xamne ñoo sé liggéey sax suñ waré del ci wat daf leen di dimbalé parce que amna fu ñuy commencer, because these things cost money. Xaalis la nekku ne dañoo dem rek ñu volunteer outside of their work time, you know, time bi ñu wara spend ak seen parents ñu use ko ne because we love our job so well, we are so patriotic, we love the government, we want to compliment, so dañoo use suñ home time bi family time pour ñëw def this assignment. It costs money, and there are budgets allocated for these things to happen. So honestly, lu ñuy mëna def rek na nekk loo xam ne is sustainable. It's going to add value. It's not just for the optics and then have a tap on our back as the position holders. Ne ba fa nekkee lii laa def waaye ba fa nekkee la nga def ban njëriñ la jur.
You see, this is a big problem and it's a big blow. They will not. Those that are paid, I think there is something that they pay them called social security, whatever, GRA and all those sort of things. Now, all these things are going. Let's say social security, there should be people who should claim it. Who has claimed for these people their contributions over the years? Who?
No, the issue of ghost workers is a big question. There's a lot of interconnection of the crime. There's a lot of interlink to the crime. So tracking that is gonna take a lot of time. They have benefits. Yeah, they do.
So who is claiming
aside the basic salaries, there are allowances and then there are
all those things. Yeah. Parce que amut fine for them nga click nga gis ne kii de mu ngi doon liggéey for 15 years at this place. Ñu ngi ko doon fayal benefits at social security. This person died at this year. And when the person died after 40 days, after 1 year, these particular family members claimed, because they were either the power of attorneys or the references or whatever, they have claimed because this much la earn. A system should be able to show those things until eternity. Can we talk why in the absence of that, we sit here and ask because it's a system that is working for a particular group. This reminds me, when I just finished school, right, in 2000, year 2000, I got a job with water resources as a fresh person from school. I was paid 800 and something, less than $900 a month. But then a few months, I was like, they ain't gonna work in for me now. But anyways, few months into it, I got the job with the bank, right? When GT Bank just came or whatever. Then I moved, Madam Ligay GT Bank. A few months until the next year, the pay guy, Master B, mu oo ma benn time man mu fogoon ni lu rëy la xewee mu ne ma naka lañ ko waxatee système bi nii la affaire bi duñ ko dee teel a di teg so man ba tey man si système bi and suma xaalis bi ñu ngi maa fay benn tey so léegi man naa def favor every month dama dem ma sign understand nga waaye du ma just jël xaalis bi dama am pour jox ko something ma ne ko ala kulli xal man suma broda kooku daf ma dama no my brother is not going to allow that. I was young. I said no, but they still continue to collect the money and sign on my behalf. I did not know. After a long time, you know how I knew? Nyamiko dan collect about 3 or 4 nyujote in the distribution of the money, the salary I was earning, less than $900. And that's when one of them came to me, met me at Guarantee Trust Bank to explain to me what happened because they were going to call me because they intended to go report the matter. And when they report the matter, I will have to be contacted to come and confirm that I was not receiving money or whatever. So munjakalan to know pour ma neka si saitam. That's when I realized my money was being collected for the longest time. So I spoke to my brother and my brother was like, write a letter. And say this is what is happening. So the younger exodus, anytime, anyway that this thing comes up, it will be documented, Nena. It came to your knowledge, you resigned because I wrote a resignation letter. It's documented. And then this was happening, and when it was brought to your knowledge, these were the steps that you took. And I did just that. Did it stop? I don't know. How much longer did it continue?
Maybe about
I don't know.
No, that's the thing.
I want the list to check whether I'm part of them.
There are two phases here. First is the people that are supposed to be paid. But if they are not paid, you can have ghost workers, but actually these people are not receiving the salary, but they are not their names are not removed from the payroll. Where are the salaries going to?
Yeah.
Especially those who are paid on the counter.
Well, I've given you one example here.
So we need to. There's a lot of questions, but
a lot of work to be done, and that's why the reform was very, very important.
Government did have a policy, Mayor Lonko. They will not pay anybody on counter. Everybody has to go to bank.
No, people are still paid.
We are still paid on counter. I think
yes?
we are still paid on the counter. I think.
My brother.
Anyways, when it comes to issue of money laundering, that is under the table. So all those things happen. If you look at it from a very broader perspective.
No, let's move.
Now it's initiated of this money laundering thing and so on.
It's crazy.
I want us to touch on this thing. Guess you for a split second making rounds on social media, and then you became the man of the moment, right? Because of comments you made in regards to the Constitution, right, the 2024, and we're talking about 2020, 2024. If I use my brother, Madi Jabate's point, the Barrow Papers.
The Barrow Papers.
Yeah, or the 2020 draft, or the Barrow Papers. And then some people, I wouldn't say a lot of people, some people did not align with the comments that you made. I had a conversation on the side somewhere, and then the person was to your defense and felt, oh, you know what? In as much as I am advocating for the 2020 Constitution, but I feel Marr's statement was taken out of context. It was misconstrued. Lolo moy gis-gisam mo, you understand? So again, now we have Marr. That's why I'm feeling doing close program without you shedding light, on that. So that maybe I'm not feeling, oh, Marr is in support of the Barrow Papers. Marr Munge betray the people because a lot of people feel the 2024 is the people's constitution. 2020 draft is the people's constitution, and 2024 is a group of people, their constitution, who was drafted or whatever. There was no consultation, and they want to align you to that. What say you in my Musa Jeng's voice?
Well, fam ñu nga xamantene dañ dégg tel rek ne bal tak
na
Simon move on. See that lecture.
Yeah.
He had everything that I said. Pai new for one. Paradise TV am neen video bi ak tamit CRPD so maybe guys seetaan video bi bam jeex man dama toog ñu seen ma statement from UDP am ku ne ma ne lan nga def UDP man ne ko loo miin mu ne ma ne gars yi ñu sa kaw ñu seen ma statement ma read ko waaw ku nekk am nga sa right nga joxe sa own opinion man dama wax lu ma wax ñoom ñu wax ku binda loolu daal because xam naa ne loolu is not anyways ku binda na lu mu binda so that's democracy I understand so waaye lu ma jaaxal mooy man si suma kaddu lu ma wax ak nit ñi lu gaay nekk di discourse waxuñu ma lu ma wax am na wala amut dama ne the fate of this constitution depends on two mooy honorable Ousainou Darboe ak président Adama Barrow ñoom ñaar
the fate of which constitution?
The fate of this 2024 constitution.
Okay, all
Not
right.
even the 2020, the 2024, any other constitution we know. As far as ñoom ñoo nekk the major party, the fate of constitutional reform depends on these two people. Te lu ma wax ci statement bi dama ne kii ooye na moromam baay kii ooye moromam doom. Te baay ak doom ku gaay réeroo bu gaay toogee waxtaan dinañ gisee so ba ma déggee wax ci bari bla 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 su nekkoon dañ wane lu ma wax ne amut ma ne waaw te dama wax loolu noonu based on the realities of our political spectrum or political space the UDP ak NPP so amee ñoom seen votes there is going to be a constitution it will pass through the committee stage. Te lu ma doon wax 5 years ago ba tey it doesn't change lu ma nekk di wax 2020 te ñu ni dañ naan man am defending the 2024 constitution waaye waxuñu tamit in 2020 I was defending the 2020 against the 1997 constitution dañu war a bàyyi this politics of convenience.
waaye léegi soo waxee loolu noonu ma laaj la ci su nekkee ne yaa ngi doon defend 2020 constitution bi and then which you have said here so today ne ñoom li ñoo wax ne yaa ngi defend 2024 constitution bi if that is anything to go by defend on nga bële defend bi or let me ask are you defending the 2024?
I am advocating for constitutional reform.
Okay.
moo tax 2020 to date that has been my position 2020 ñu parlementaire ñu fa nekkoon including that of the UDP soo leen koolee dinañ leen wax ne maar bokk na si ñi nga xamante ne leen doon call xam nga ñoom dañ leen wax ne dañ leen doon saaga ñu def seen nataal yi man dama doon ko di waxtaan ak gars yi am benn parlementaire bu ma call mu ne ma ne you are the first person ku ma call te saaguloo ma I was advocating for them to allow the 2020 moo tax last couple of days dama andiwaat video boobu moo doon wax gars yi ñu allow the 2020 draft to move to the committee stage and then make the necessary amendments. The same
so
message.
Is it the same position you have now to say let's allow the 2024 to move to the committee stage?
It's the same, it never changed.
Okay.
It never changed. So 2024, we need to understand constitutional building process from our own legal and Gambian perspective.
Right.
Me and Saibo Munyo andi a bill called Draft Constitution 2021-2024. It has to be the executive. Oppositions cannot do that. Parliamentarians cannot do that. It has to be the executive. Nyom muna andi that bill to the National Assembly.
But look at them 2020 executive in the winter. They set up a commission.
The executive brought it. 2020, they only established a constitutional review commission.
That's what I said. The review commission came up with it and gave it to them, and they tabled it.
They took it to the executive, but the constitutional review commission cannot table that bill.
That's what I'm saying. The table. Why? Okay, the 2020. I think the issue here, the 2020 was not done by it was the executive that did the amendments and everything else with the help of a consultant, right? And then they tabled it. I think that also where the bulk of the problem was, because people felt like they did it among themselves. It was not consultative as the 2021, the 2020, the 2020 draft.
Constitutional building, right? is a political process.
Absolutely.
You understand? They,
But my political process, but the interest of the people.
but
Should
let
be
me come here.
The politics cannot support.
Okay.
Our
Our politicians represent the interest of the people.
They should.
They should.
Oh, yeah.
But do they in reality?
Exactly. That's why I said when you say they do,
Okay.
they should.
Okay. Now, it should be consultative. What funds
That's what the people are saying.
What funds the Constitution?
What funds it?
What funds the Constitution?
As in the monetary?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it not the budget?
Yeah.
Right? Is the budget largely consultative in the way it has been drafted?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, but we are sifting.
Wait a minute, I'm coming.
No, just allow him to come.
You understand?
Yeah.
The budget, do you all have says in the way the money is being allocated, which determines whether you're going to have access to quality education,
No.
quality health?
No.
Right.
No.
But there's not much interest.
Yeah.
And the life of the country.
No, don't say there's not much interest.
Wait a minute. I'm coming.
Okay.
You said no, there's limited interest. There's limited interest, right? And I say this based on facts, right? I work on this public finance space for a long time now, right?
Okay.
The Constitution, there is a lot of interest in it from the people, and it is expected to be the case. I said this because in South Africa, when they were building their constitution, it was a political process. 490 parliamentarians, actually 400 parliamentarians, 90 senators, sat together to give South Africans the constitution they want. The initial one, they have what they call the multi-party negotiating process, negotiation. They all sat and they said, we want a constitution holding these 34 principles. The first draft that they brought were not compatible with those 34 principles. And they sat as a parliament. So the parliament of South Africa was the one that developed the 1996 South African constitution.
And there was a multi-party parliament.
Multi-party parliament. It was about seven political parties.
Mm-hmm.
In our case, we have 57 that have decision making to make and build a constitution that the people desire. 490 achieved that. Why not 57 of our parliamentarians cannot sit together, review the 2024, and then give the people the constitution they desire? And I want to ask one question. That constitution, what is its name? What is the name? The one that is before Parliament.
The bill?
Yes.
2024.
There's one that is missing. There's a key word that is missing in there.
Draft constitution.
Draft. It is a draft. It's not a constitution. It's a draft. So what we are saying is, it is a draft. Give it to Parliament. Let Parliament do their job. In reviewing that document, what is good, maintain it. What is not good, make it good.
Okay, Marr, I just want to come
I'm
here.
coming.
No, yo, nga ñu bàyyi ko, nga ñu bàyyi ko.
Allow him to finish, and then we comment so that we close.
Allow him to
Because
finish,
when we
yeah.
want to do the
Yeah.
agenda,
No, allow him to
I want
finish.
to ask him something so that he can continue.
Marr is getting to a point. Allow him to finish.
So Parliament, part of their core mandate is law making. They make laws. And part of their job is when the executive bring proposed laws to them to look at it and then make sense out of it. For the sake of God, when the Parliament were legislating a law to increase their salaries, were you all consulted?
No.
Where is that money coming from? It's not coming from taxpayers' money.
Yes,
But
it's our money.
they all put their political differences aside and look at their interests and pass a law that increased their remunerations and
Oh, they
benefits.
do that all the time. Anything that has to
So
do with
why
them,
not?
they
So
agree.
why will a parliamentarian do that and then here stand and they say, "I am going to reject it" without looking at it? Why didn't you do that with that bill that seeks to increase your remuneration?
Or buy you produce.
Why don't have you ever seen a national budget, and in public finance we call it EBP, executive budget proposal. It's not enacted budget. It's already called an enacted budget after it is passed by Parliament. Have you ever seen a budget that is proposed to the National Assembly and the National Assembly said, I'm going to reject it in its entirety without looking at it? Have you ever seen that? They amend the budget. It comes to Parliament, they look at certain proposed expenditures, they reallocate those expenditures. If they are to reject a budget, there possibly be a government shutdown. And the life and blood of a country is these two, the budget and the constitution. The constitution creates a budget, the budget funds the constitution. So why will parliamentarians or political parties take a position, rigid position for that matter, to say that we are going to reject it without having looked at it? And most of the parliamentarians, their base is, we don't trust our members from other parties. But you did trust them when you were passing the law that increased their remuneration. You did trust them with the budget. You did trust them with the anti-corruption bill. So constitutional building is about negotiation. Constitutional building is about consensus building. Constitutional building is about participation. And I've said this not once, not twice, that the executive failed in achieving a consultative process to build a constitution that reflects the needs and aspirations of the people. All hopes are not lost. The executive did not achieve that. Now, this is no more. You need to understand how parliamentary system works. This is no more an executive document. The executive have no say on that document. It is a parliament document. So it is the parliament that can decide what to do with that document and the content of that document. So parliament, if the people are saying the executive was not consultative, but parliament can take that constitution back and consult people. Others are saying the CRC have already done that. They've done that. They've achieved the goal. But people are saying this is the people's constitution. It's not the people's constitution. There is never going to be a people constitution that is 100% supported by the people. And in my lecture, I said it, that is only the law of God. It is the law of God that never change. It is the law of God that consistent with all generations. Our constitutions are man-made, and they are ever going to be error-driven. And they are always going to be evaluated to adapt to our realities. Now, when everyone says the people's constitution, the 2020, I'm a Muslim, Nena is a Christian. The Muslim groups rejected the constitution. The Christian groups rejected the constitution. So how about the other groups that have dissenting views with that constitution? Why didn't we allow that constitution to pass and then look at their views? Now, this 2020, there is an opportunity.
You mean 2024?
This 2024. There is an opportunity to look at all of those issues. There are those that raise issues about citizenship. There are those that raise issues on religious basis. Right? There are those that raises so many issues on public finance, and you name it. Especially where it also says that 0.something% of the national budget goes to the Anti-Corruption Commission, which I support. Others don't support. So you're always going to have dissenting views on a constitution building process. Like I said, we're all human beings.
That Anti-Corruption Commission, what are they doing with that document? What does that document do?
That will be another conversation.
Yeah, it will be another conversation. Yeah. So
but
by that
to answer your question, my position has ever been to achieve constitutional reform. All of these things that we are talking about, security issues, corruption, public service, you name it. It is the constitution. The foundation is the constitution. And who has something to lose here if we don't have a sound constitution? Mm-hmm. It is us, the people. In 2020, the people were never given the position or the opportunity to decide whether they want the 2020 or not. In 2024, the people might likely not be given the opportunity to decide whether they want a new constitution or not. It has been decided by political parties. Now, all that we hear is the voices on social media, the voices on TV, the voices on the market, but there are those that are not also talking. Can we listen to them?
So when you say the political parties, and when you mention the two political parties, in your views, these are the two political parties, or the two leaders, not the political, well, the two heads.
Well,
of
the
these
two main
political.
there are two main political parties. Well, there is APRC that is legally recognized, and the No Alliance. We know the No Alliance don't support it, but the APRC Alliance supported it. PDOIS supported it. NRP supported it. In 2020. Right? There was nothing like NPP parliamentarians. There were pro-ruling party or pro-ruling government parliamentarians that defected from one party to another. So for Gambia to achieve, and this is going to be written in our history book, for Gambia to achieve constitutional reform is either Honorable Senou Dabo and President Adama Barrow sit, discuss, and see Gambia, right? And build compromises. That has to happen. Unfortunately, it is a political process. It is not given to the people. If you go to countries like Chile, their constitution, they have to elect people to develop a constitution, and that constitution was taken back to the people. And the people decide. It's not the government that's going to decide whether they want the constitution or not. The people decide to reject it or to accept it. For us, it's not the case. We took parliamentary process. So our position has ever been for consensus. And 2020, we said, pass the constitution with amendments. 2024, pass the constitution with amendments. It's the same language, it's the same message. And we are saying this because we know what is at stake. And I ask this question, who is there to lose? It is us, the Gambian. Who is there to win? It is the ruling party. Because on the 1997 constitution, with one vote, simple majority, they win. With 1997 constitution, they can be here for 100 years. No one has the legal authority to tell them to step down. Because the laws allow it. Under the 1997 constitution, still the president has too much executive power and monopoly that he can use at his disposal. So what is at stake here if you don't achieve constitutional reform?
Can I ask my guys?
Yes.
The only thing I want to
wait. Mardi to flow. I mean,
yes, that was good. That was good.
Yeah,
that was
fine
good.
with it.
Okay.
One thing, right? Because definitely I have a lot of take to give, but unfortunately my chair does not allow me to take. But
no, I can take questions. I really wanted to clarify.
No, I mean me as the host.
Yeah.
You know, I would have been if I was sitting here or here or here.
No,
I have so many things.
I welcome all views. You know, why would I support a government that put me in detention?
No, wait. It's not even about that. Let me go on.
I need to clarify this because people, well, gis nga, su may wax damay wax ak ñuy déglu ak seen xel. Dama wax ak ñi nga xamante ne dañoo déglu ak seen xol. So, déglukat yi xol yi ñoo bari. Te nañ gëstu léegi lii ñu xool ko. If the constitutional reform process, right, is eliminated, who have something else to lose? It's us. The advantage is with Barrow, and it's with NPP. That is the advantage, and you cannot take that away from them because you cannot bring a constitutional amendment bill. I mean, constitutional overhaul constitution or especially a draft constitution to the executive. Your party cannot do that. Your constituency cannot do that. Your political party representative in that parliament cannot do that. It has to be driven by the state. The CRC Act that you were talking about, it was the state that drafted the CRC Act and took it to Parliament. It was the state that funded CRC. It was the state that taxed CRC. It was the CRC was also accountable to the law that was proposed and enacted by the state. So these things, we need to be flexible in order to achieve a greater purpose and a greater goal.
Hang on, one thing here. Okay, so I take the conversation in the discourse, right? It is believed by so many people that okay, the executive, they, we agree it's a political process, but they all serve the interests of one principal, one master, right? But the commission that even though that they form, right, was not seen to be that. So what the commission came up with and gave to the executive if that was gone, even though it did not pass, we know where it was. So people expect that this one also should have gone through such process, then the executive sit and remove things that, okay, a lot of people had, approved or endorsed. So this is seemed to be a document that serves the interest of one person or a particular group. Again, it could have been different if it was coming from a different source. Now, the source also matters here, why a lot of people have this rejection or resistance as well. Because of, again, you talked about when some people say they don't trust the MPs to give it to them to discuss it. Right?
Okay, let me ask you
and
one
they
question.
have a point.
Let me ask you one question. So, will they still trust the MPs when the 2020 is brought back for amendment?
I mean, I
So-
don't know. I'm just
so-
saying
so-
the conversation and the chit chats out there.
Yeah, I'm-
You understand?
I'm also asking this counter
what I'm
question.
saying.
Nene,
But,
so
but
we don't-
again, that's not for me. I'm just relaying what
So this
people
is
are
the-
saying. But this is one thing here. Maybe one thing. Then when you see your right back. Again, when you said, we cannot. If we are left with the 1997 constitution, these people might be here for so many years. It's a possibility because again, we saw Jame, was with that constitution and he was here for so many years, 22 years to be specific. But at some point in time, he was taken out democratically. And no matter how long also, it's good to state that they stay if we don't have a new constitution. We are being governed by the 1997 constitution. Even if they're here for 100 years, they will be removed at some point in time. That depends on the people. I guess when I feel that when the people are ready, that will happen. You understand? But, let's not make it seem like once we have the 1997 constitution, it's like, an open check. Nothing else can happen unless we have a constitution. I just wanted to make that point. So now,
I want to address that, right? First, the fundamental issues that we were talking here are premised on the public law of the country.
yes.
So if you have a weak public law, a weak constitution, these issues are going to persist. Right now, there are certain cases that you could not even prosecute because your laws doesn't accommodate it. You have to build a hybrid court. And with some jurisprudence, they will actually even say you are somehow compromising the sovereignty of that state. Other school of thoughts have their own different ways because it's judicial collaboration.
Right.
Right? So we don't want to sit here for 100 years. We don't want to sit here for 22 years. The 1997 Constitution is in the advantage of any government that comes to power.
The ruling government.
Any government that comes to power, the 1997 Constitution is at their advantage. And I'm telling you, you are not guaranteed constitutional reform. Overhaul constitutional reform process if we fail this process.
I think it depends on what government comes and the leadership. Yeah, it depends on the people.
For how many times do we
it
have
depends
to?
on the people.
For
the
how many
people.
times do we have to put our optimism around a political party that form a government? And we are telling the people to take this ownership. And we are also saying, okay, the state failed in consultation. Parliament can actually do that. For every single bill that comes to Parliament, Parliament does consultation.
What do you mean they do consultation?
Every single bill that comes to Parliament, you do the first reading, and then the second reading, when it's adopted, it is referred to a committee. Now that committee does consultation. They say, for example, the FGM, the Parliament does consultation on the FGM bill, right? The elections bill, they do consultation to hear experts. What do you think about the content of this bill? When it comes to the anti-corruption bill, when it comes to so many other bills, procurement bills, the Parliament hear experts or go to the people, sit with the people, and say, this is what is brought before us. What do you think? That's what I'm telling you now, that this is no more a government bill. This is a parliamentary bill. As far as it gets into Parliament, government has zero business.
But they have a lot of influence.
They have a lot of influence.
Let's hear what
so-
Saibo has to
so-
say quick, because time,
yeah, so first-
we're short of time.
Yes,
I'm
so
sure you
quickly,
just have to quickly
I
2
think,
minutes. Just
I
give
think
you-
Marr and I had this conversation prior, and
Well,
of course,
muscle music conversation.
yeah, I just want to clarify one thing. I think I also saw the social media. What Marr said is not wrong. What Marr said is the honest truth. That you see, our political space have been centered between Barrow versus Usainu,
Which is
or what
sad.
Barrow want or Usainu's want, and then our constitutional building process until these two people come together and then build a consensus, like he said, we will not have a concern, and that's the honest truth, and it's going to be said, and that is why people should not be angry about issues, right? And it was interpreted. I was there. I was right in front when Marr was speaking, and when the release was done, what I saw in the release and what Marr said are far apart. But even if Marr said that way, yes, either Usainu is on the side of the people, Barrow otherwise, or Barrow is in the side of the people, or otherwise, we are all at ransom in our constitutional building process because Barrow said no, Usainu said no. That's the honest truth.
But that's unfortunate, man. If
So
I was
moving
a
forward-
registered political party, I will deregister because I will feel so
Exactly.
irrelevant.
Exactly.
That, I will feel so irrelevant. I will deregister and not because
if I was
let's
part
call the
of
country a two-party
so
state.
if I was UDP or MPP and Marr made that statement, I built something out of it so that we go back to our drawing board. I said, okay, look, we want the 2020 draft because we feel we are with the people, or we want the 2024 draft. Can we come together and build a consensus? This is what happens in South Africa, in Tunisia, in Chile, and elsewhere.
Kenya.
And in Kenya, exactly. But it's not a matter of ñun luñ xam lañ xam. You cannot say anything. It's not Usainu ak Barrow moomuñ dëkk bi, so we move. So to go back to the reality. No. I have merits. This was just a surface. I have merits on the constitution now. I have a part of a disagreement with Marr's position on the constitution. You see, for me, we need a constitution. I agree with him. And both the 2020 draft and the 2024 draft will go to the parliament, and then the parliamentarians can touch it, right? But for me, is legitimacy and setting precedents. The 2020 draft is called the people's draft. Do you know why? Not because everybody sat in the CRC and wrote, but the consultation approach touches both Gambians home and abroad.
It was inclusive.
Yeah, it was very inclusive. So right now, for me, I'm seeing the 2020 draft and the 2024 draft in two terms used in democracy: participatory democracy and representative democracy. Now, the executive have a feeling that we hired them, we appointed them, so they should be able to build laws for us using our thinking that this is how they think. That's what representative democracy means. And that's what happens with the 2024 draft. The 2020 draft was a participatory democracy, inclusive. Everybody was involved. So now, if the government get excited that they want to give us a new constitution, of course, they are the executive. Like you said, no law, I cannot take a law to the parliament. You cannot take a law to the parliament. It's the executive. The executive needs to look at two ways of legitimacy here. I read this book of on constitutional building, and it talks about legitimacy from a legal perspective, but talks about legitimacy from a moral perspective. If Barrow looks at the 1997 Constitution to act, he should also listen to what the people say and then balance it with what the law says and deliver what is best for the people. The 2020 draft cannot go back untouched, they claim. There are no legal basis that it cannot be touched. But you see, there are minor problems in the Constitution I observed that they can touch and reintroduce without having to touch any of the clauses that are bringing the controversy, and the parliament does that now. Let's say, for example, the preamble. I spoke to one of the TJ experts that is very, very interested in our TJ process, Howell from South Africa. And he said the preamble, in fact, of the 2020 draft is more problematic than the clauses we are arguing about. Do you know why? Because it only gives us an ordinary language. It doesn't tell us why are we even building a constitution. It's a common sense preamble. Of course, instead of a preamble that tells us what happened to the 1997 Constitution, how did the 1997 Constitution resolve us to all of what happened in this country until we want a new Constitution?
The preamble in the 2020 draft is pretty much the same as
the 1997
Constitution. People need to read and see what.
Sorry, just change that. Just change that now, because they said they cannot have the 2020 draft reintroduced without being touched. Just change that, and then let's go to the parliament now. Because Marr, you see, if we have the 2020 draft, it's the same risk like the 2024 draft that the parliament will still touch, and what they will touch and they will not touch, we don't know, and we may not have an influence over. Their consultations will be limited, like you made mention. I am glad when you said all the bills have been going through consultation. You also mean expert. Most of the time, they will call Omar and Saibo and Nene and civil society and few other people. that deviate.
And call it consultation.
Exactly, and so consultation. Now, for me, both constitutions go to the parliament and go to the consideration stage and are going to be touched. I prefer the 2020 draft.
Who is the chair of the Constitution and Human Rights Committee at the National Assembly? Is it not led by an opposition?
Yes.
Right?
I think it's this.
Now, this is the thing.
Yes. I'm just coming.
No.
It's who?
It's Madi Cisse.
Just allow me here. Let me explain this. Right? The parliamentarians, right, and the committee, and I've explained this, how this could actually work. The Constitution has cross-cutting issues, right? It has issues on public finance, human rights, children's rights, agriculture, and so. All of these committees exist within the National Assembly, unlike any other bill. So you have these committees, all of these committees could be deployed to go back to the people. This is going to be a model parliamentary constitutional building process.
Okay. So,
right?
So
the problem that you guys have not touched, the root problem, we've been talking about the problem 3 from the beginning. The root problem that you guys have not touched is the loyalty of parliamentarians to political parties than the people.
So I was
the biggest problem.
I was gonna come there. My time. I have a lot to say. Don't steal my time. I was gonna come to that, but quickly to tell you. You see, executive concerns are dangerous. Tunisia is a good example. When Tunisia built their constitution, today the same constitution is torn against the people of Tunisia. Do you know why? Because the executive did the same. When the constitution was built, the executive look at the constitution and feel like the constitution doesn't suit them, they butcher it to suit the interest of one person. So what I mean is both constitutions will go through the same process. But the 2020 draft for me is more legitimate to go to the parliament and be touched, good or bad. Now we have a business with the parliamentarians than have the borough papers being touched in the parliament. That's the honest truth. You know why? Because it set a precedent. This is the precedent. Def nem ko, jignu, then ko defat.
Okay, let me ask you this question.
You get?
Let me ask you this question. If the 2020 draft is brought back, who has the majority in parliament? Can the ruling party make the 2020 worse than the 2024 even the 1997?
That is why I said now, that becomes between us and the parliamentarians. Do you know why? The real form of the constitution, the majority of Gambians supported, is what is taken to the parliament. Now, if it is touched in a manner that doesn't favor us, it becomes our business with our representatives. But now, having the 2024 draft, this is the implications. One, bad precedents. Barrow def na lumo def, Dawda Jallow talk na State House, gender coffee, butcher sun constitution bi nun ko nehe, and we accept it in our parliament, and we accept it to in fact go through a process. Mark, that's where the problem is. Tomorrow, they will set something else, and we come back to the negotiation table and say, because we want this, ñu allow ko mu dem fale and def lii. Precedents, 1. 2, if you look at the 2020 draft, and you look at the parliamentary settings, I have a high feeling that the 2020 draft will survive the needs and aspirations of the Gambian people than the 2024 draft. So therefore, I agree with you, we need a constitution. But you see, out of frustration, we need a constitution that resound the minds and the thinking of the Gambian people. Otherwise, we'll
never get that constitution.
No, we will.
You will never go.
No, all we need to do is to speak. No. In fact, we will. We will. You know what? We will. Soon you see, if soon that we just want a constitution.
No.
At all times.
This is the mistake that a lot of people are making.
No.
Constitutional law.
If we say that we just need a constitution, we need a constitution. We must define what constitution we need for the future. You see, the 1997 constitution was not as bad as we talk about it today in 1997. Right? What happens? We gave a room to an executive to look at us and say, look, I know what you want more than you. I will do A and B and C. And then that's what Barrow did with the 2020 draft, in fact, without having it enacted as a law. So for me, it's Barrow versus the people. Right. And then the people's voice reflects in the 2020 draft. Let it go to the parliament. If the parliamentarians touch it, now it's not between us and Barrow. It's between us and our parliamentarians, and we will sort that out.
Okay. I want to tell you this. It's actually a good opportunity to set a precedent. The precedent is the executive developed a proposed constitution, taken to parliament, and the parliamentarian decided not to go with the proposed constitution of the executive. The parliament decided to engage people, get the legitimacy from the people. There are different layers. There are different layers of adopting this constitution.
Right.
First, it passed through parliament, and then once it passed through parliament, the people should be given the opportunity to decide whether they want a constitution or not. This has not been the case in 2020, and if we are not careful, it's not going to be the case in 2024. And if it doesn't happen, we might as well even forget about this constitutional reform process.
Right.
You understand? So I think we are taking a very dangerous position, being too rigid in the way we approach this, saying borrow papers, blah 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 blah, when the constitution now, which is before the houses of the people, should be taken back to the people. The same 2020 has to go through parliamentary procedures, and it will be amended.
Yeah, I agree, but I prefer that one being amended.
Not what you prefer. This is about what the country wants. The country wants constitutional reform, be it 2020, be it 2024, or any draft that comes, for God's sake. What we want is a constitution.
But not just anything.
Wait a minute. I'm not coming.
So that's what is dangerous.
No. You have not allowed me to complete my sentence.
Okay, go ahead.
I said, be it 2020, 1997, or 2024, any constitution that comes to parliament, we should give the Gambia the constitution that they deserve. And it's the parliament that can do that. TRC might have done an exceptional work. If it gets to parliament, it could be butchered. The way the executive butchered it, parliament can still butcher it. So what reservation do we have for the 2024 based on we don't trust parliament, but we have that optimism with the 2024 trusting parliament, saying it is between us, the parliament. Before you realize, it's already late, because there you are not the one that's making the decision. The FGM, you are not there to make the decision. The parliament remuneration bill, you were not there to make the decision. It was parliament, you and everyone start complaining. It's already water under the bridge. It's law, and law must not be seen to be non-existent. Is it existing? It is a law, it is a law.
But regardless of them having the power to do whatever they want, doesn't mean that people also does not have to have their stance all the way, right? I guess also it's consoling to know that I believe that doesn't serve the interests of the people. So therefore, I'm not going to water down, or I'm not going to compromise on it, knowing that when it gets to the people that are going to vote it out, they will do otherwise, and that's the reason why I'm going to compromise.
One more thing, and Abla will come. One more thing, Abla will come.
Time.
Now, one more thing, just 1 minute. That now, let's do this. I want to have a consensus with Marr before Barrow and Hussein will have a consensus. Let's do this. Let's have the parliament have the 2020 draft and have the 2024 draft and go to consultation and ask people A or B, and then they will come back and amend.
That is not a parliamentary best practice. I'm telling you, because you have to take the bill that is before parliament to consult people on that if you're doing your consultation on a bill that is before parliament. You understand? Look, we have done work on this. For 5 days, we look at the 2020, look at the 2024, and that of these two draft constitutions, and then make recommendations. You understand? It's a 91-page document that the parliament can look at. So what we are interested in is to achieve this constitutional reform goal, but a constitution that people deserve. You look at the 2020 constitution, people will tell you we don't agree with the issue of marriage.
Of course, yeah.
The language has to be clear. And then this language was the same language that is in the 1997 constitution. This language is the same language that is in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. But time and issues, circumstances, and communities have changed. People say we need a more specific definition of marriage, that marriage is between a man and a woman. It has changed in the 2024.
Yes, it does.
It does. It has changed. So many things has changed. You understand? Both good and bad. But we pick the bad one
dangerous
and
thing
talk
is,
about it.
But now the issue,
the dangerous thing is, the things that have changed good
you progress for the better, right? If there were some that people felt was not good. And then now in this one, they made it better, which is acceptable to the people. That's okay. But you cannot take things that were acceptable to the people on that other one, and then you render it to a way that now people don't even want it.
It's a draft. It's a draft.
That's what I'm saying. It's a draft. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
You see,
Bojang,
they are close.
go ahead, Bojang.
Time and time.
Oh,
And again,
Lord. I wish we can.
I have told Mark this, and I have told Gambians this. You say the constitution should be allowed to go to parliament, and then committee stage, blah, 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 and then that is it. And at this committee stage, you have subject matter specialists, because that is what you call delegated legislation. You see, parliamentarians, some of them are forestry officers, so they know more forestry. But you may have in the House, nobody has a geology knowledge. They are all represented, but nobody has any geology knowledge, any knowledge about geology. It means the best thing to do is to look for experts to advise, to give you guidance and so on how you go about legislating that. But the truth is this. He talked about legitimacy. It's very important, whether legal or political or moral, social. We are saying, even if it goes through that same process, it is going to go back to the dustbin. Because already, most people have the feeling, he may agree, he may not agree, but most people have the feeling that the 2020 is more consultative, it's more participatory. And as such, it is easier to amend such a document, work on it, to get the public legitimacy that you want. So that when it finally gets to the people, it would be passed.
How about
at the referendum? Allow me.
My question is, how about if that 2020
allow me. I'm coming. Allow me.
That's why when you were talking.
Allow me. Allow me.
Okay. Just allow him to talk.
You see, I will tell you this. Left to. Yeah. I assume I'm a politician like Usenu and Barrow. Left to these people alone, there probably will not be any issue at individual level. But Dabo is saying, or the argument I see him as a politician make, which makes sense with me, is I represent the people. They were consulted on this. On this other one, they are not consulted as the way they want it. If I am to side, I'm going to side with the people. That is the truth. Now you will say, oh, which people are you siding with? They don't even, no. For me, it is not about the benefits I get. It's about whether they feel they have a say. If this goes to parliament, it is prone to a lot of distortion because of the level of understanding of the parliamentarians, the experts that you are going to consult, because you have no clue, or your clue is very limited in that area. Those people can adulterate it. They can make it whatever. They can dirty it, muddy it. We understand all that. But must we, for that sake, allow the executive, who are already enjoying and benefiting and really know what law to put to benefit them more, must we allow them to come up with a draft in this manner that is not consultative? And allow that same draft to go to parliament without having the public or the popular support or the legitimacy? That is the president you are talking about. Yeah. So we should not, allow me.
The reality is, Abdullah, the constitution that you are defending, which is the 1997 constitution, and you've made your position clear to that.
1997 or
yes.
No.
Yeah, you made that clear at Africa. You made that clear at Africa.
Allow me, whatever I say, for your information, so that whatever I do, I look at it at least twice.
Okay.
Because that's my guiding principle. I did not say I support the 1990 constitution over all these constitutions. No. Go, and all those that I know, Gambia now is VAR. Don't even tell them, they will do it.
VAR.
I said,
the Vanessa.
I said, if and when there is this issue of 2024, 2020, if I were Marr, I am going to tell the people that, you know what, at this moment, There is only one individual that we can actually hold accountable because we are paying him, is Adama Barrow. He has spent 10 years and could not do us anything with constitution. Our campaign should be the masses should boot him out. And tell the one that is coming, if you don't, this is the same thing that we are going to do for you. Instead of asking for compromises. We don't need any compromise. If you wanted compromise, we could have looked at the 1997 constitution and amend what we can amend. What we cannot amend, we take it to the people. It is cheaper, it is easier for us. Why didn't we do that? To save taxpayer money. So, okay, then it's fine. But now we have two, and you want to say it is two people. No. If the leadership that we have, that is President Barrow, is really interested in a constitution, as he is claiming, even if Honorable Dabo said this, Barrow could compromise. Because he's the leader. If you have the heart, at your heart, the interest of the people. Already, you have the money, you have the fame, you have the position, you have everything. There is no position higher than leading people, a king or president. Tell me any, I don't know. So you got that, and you have the interest of the people. You could have taken some steps, even though you were advised, you refused them. Now I said, if that is the case, get to the people, because the people finally will decide. If now all of us, our energy is now onto the people, that the people, the situation is we needed a constitution to be able to do this and this and this and this and this. And the government, he said here in his own deliberation, that the executive have the power to bring these things. Is it not the same executive that have failed not to? By not following what they should do? Why should they go to the dark room and discuss things and come out? When they are leading us, they have the torch light. That's what I said. They are having the torch light. At some point, they switch off the torch light and bend, and then came out and said, let's follow them. When we did not see where they went to.
I think I want to ask a question, but Abdullah,
So this is why
you know.
allow me. I have listened to you. Allow me. No, allow me.
No, Hada. No, wait. Okay, Bayo, wait.
I'm going to na guy flow like Marr closely remind.
No, that's what
respond to the.
that's what I wanted to say.
Last question.
No, but it's okay. But the thing is, Harama, the thing is, no. But Bayo, Marr is the guest, and Marr has a leeway that we as we don't have.
Of course, that's true.
If I say we can't interject, we should not. But if he wants to, I should be able to decide to give him to interject or whatever, because he's the guest.
And I'm very much
It's his
happy to
moment.
receive
So go ahead and do that.
his submission. So the issue of compromise, Abdullah, you are very much vast in religion that I do. I don't, but he knows the religion more than I do.
But how are you sure?
I know. Okay, you've been reading and studying the religion, right? And you should be proud.
I will call him Oga instead of Abdullah.
He's giving me what I don't even know.
But wait. So the issue of compromise that we are talking about, you see, my advocacy also is derived from my spiritual and religious connection with my religion. You know the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. Didn't the Prophet strike a compromise there?
He did.
So why are we always saying that we are not going to compromise?
No, nobody said.
No, that's
we
what
are
I'm
not going
saying.
to compromise.
There's no compromise here. We need to compromise. Today, Makkah is in the hands of who? Makkah is in the hands of who? The believers. But during those Jahiliyyah period, when the treaty was brought before the Prophet, it was not sounding well to the Prophet. It was foolish. It was not making sense. He compromised. And in fact, historians in law talk about the diplomacy that he played there. So we need to look at things and shoot for the long-term impact, not to be too rigid. You see, the Chinese, they call it, is it the Confucian model of negotiation? And that's exactly what they did with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights almost 75 years ago. Compromise, not to be too direct, but not to allow it to be bent.
You see, Mark, that's what we have been saying all over. It's not that we did not hear you. What we are saying is very simple. Now, it's one country that we have. Constitutionally, there was something created which is called the CRC. They did their job as we have asked them to do. It went to the parliament. The politicians decided to do whatever they want to do with it. Fine. Another job came. But this time, it is not the CRC, but the executive who have that partiality. They cannot be impartial. The CRC was independent. as far as our concern, our level is concerned.
Of course, I agree.
Now, if Baba is making law for himself, you think that is independent?
No, it's not.
So why must we take, and when the central cardinal pillar of the constitution supposed to be impartiality? If the drafters, they themselves are not partial, you want us to entertain that to go to our parliament? In the first place? Why didn't you reconstitute, even if that is the case? Why didn't you reconstitute the CRC for us to get something? Or look at that constitution, what you can do to touch it for it to be reintroduced or for it to be reintroducible. Why can't you do that instead of you going to your dogo? If God were having a family, he cannot make any law because God is going to be partial. What I it applies because Amut Suman Niga is Mani. But that law is made for him. How can he make law for himself? And we want us to allow him to go to parliament with that. That is our problem.
We understand you, Ablai. We understand.
So nobody is saying that compromise do muna am. Nobody is saying that. But when you want to dig Mag me Tete Sunko John Gambia, Mag the law for Gambia, he will make sure he is catered for. Enough. Because naturally human beings are like that. This law, imagine if you give mile two people to make law for themselves. they are going to release themselves.
They will free all of them.
So how can we give? The money. We gave him everything. Yet we want to also give him the very thing that will limit him, making him a monster, making him a good human being. For him to make that.
I'm very happy you said that. Any
So that
government,
is why we are saying
any government that
he
comes
should not have-
will cater for themselves. Any government that comes in constitutional building, they will cater for themselves.
Shouldn't that be mitigated in some way?
Man,
Shouldn't that be mitigated in
No,
some
no,
way?
no.
We got a problem.
It's not.
Allow bio. Bio needs to talk.
We should not support it.
Boja,
It's not about. It's not about every other government we create. It's about. It's not supposed to happen.
What was the first constitutional amendment that took place when this government came into power?
Age. As far as I remember.
Okay, who does it serve?
This is what I'm saying.
So that's
No, man. 30 seconds.
No. There's not even 1 second.
Anyways.
No. Let's leave.
Okay, right. It's fine. No
you see tey ñi nga xamante ne daf leen féebo woon ñu def nii tey ñu génn féeboole woon ki nga constitution building wax na ko amul benn nguur buy ñëw fii ni mu jox people the constitution that they 100%. It was not the 1997 constitution. It was not the 2020. It's not going to be the 2024. There's always going to be the interest of certain people covered, and there's also going to be the interest of certain people not covered. That's human beings' constitutional building process.
But the balance, man.
No,
the balance here.
No perfect constitution, but a constitution that reflects the needs and
And that
aspirations of
should
the
not
people.
be a reason to do anything. You see, that is this.
No
we
perfect
have
constitution.
adjectives, isn't it? We have what? Good, better, best. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Perfection is divinity. Yalla rek la. So man should always forget about the word perfection. So that is not in the realm of human beings.
No.
So what we are trying to talk about,
No constitution can be perfectly cut, right? But we need a better constitution.
But we
Right.
have those that are good, we have those that are better. We say let's go for the one that is better.
Yes.
Nobody should be for perfection because that is not there.
And in fact, the better is in the middle, right? So the 2020 draft is in the middle.
Yes, it's better. Let's go for that.
Okay, I take
The pastors and the imams they did not hold that position.
So we need to negotiate with those people. It's easy to negotiate with them.
So you negotiate with those people, you cannot negotiate with the one that
Okay, bye. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. From next time be jamu.
No, buy don't go just 2 minutes. Buy
No, buy
2 minutes the more.
there, buy ko.
No. Okay, you don't go 4 minutes.
You
You don't go 4 minutes.
You are investing more time. I think.
2 minutes.
Like even 2 minutes, so buy your time. It's very simple. You see, the Google don't have it in the Marr la position of the to be. Marr the dopo will be. We are not seeing Marr as the government. Marr given is working for the civil society. That is for the society. Marr the dopo is not working for the opposition. It's not working for the government. It's working for the society.
But that's not being questioned.
No, but listen.
He's making his ground.
Allow me the floor.
Yes.
Allow me the floor, boy. So you see, that is why, like, sometimes you more back on the side. Why you back aside? Okay, Mari be low in Jumale. Because for foi blaso to e be lola mede foi blaso de be lola mede because sai ma ko mam mari ko ko ma ka fu UDP la mam mari ko ka fu NPP la mam mari ka fu government la but na mari jelo ko ma is working for the civil society, is working for the entire Gambian people. And so
is
now,
that assumption, or you know that
no,
is what he is?
That is my belief, because where is working.
Look at him and ask him, where are you? Then you move on.
No, Marr is working for.
Okay, Marr he said that's the truth.
Marr.
Huh?
That is true. I'm fasting. I'm not lying.
Okay, good.
I'm not
Then move
looking for
on.
any
No, I
political
wanted him to
party.
speak on facts, not assume when the person is sitting right here.
No, you know, I'm not going to I'm assuming, because nearly I'm not assuming is because Marr mantra do ko.
Ay, ya ko ngamira Marr be ni Marr be ni.
Let me tell you something. Marr, even though call a in organization, at the part of the Marr, is part of the government or opposition or what? Tell me.
Neutral.
So I'm going to that is completely simple thing. I should believe in that. I should have the trust. Regardless of.
That's not what you manifested.
Okay, fine. Okay, let's go on. Can I time move?
Exactly, move on.
Time move to Nene. So, what I know, Uncle. So, Mari is saying, even though call them told me, the society, what is the view of the society? It's very important. You have to look at the view of the society. Society is a view community. And what is the belief? And what will be the action of the people Milalonko? You are saying this ko wole multi Milalonko. You have to look into this, because you call it the executive. It will like a below some. And up to the parliament, and the parliament do whatever they need to do. And one thing you said, the parliament also have right to do whatever they want to do. Yes, that is true. But now, I want to ask you, the kind of parliament we have in this country, and the kind of executive we have in this country, the decision they will take, is it going to be the interest of the people you are working for? This is what you need to ask, because you are working for the society. The decision they are going to do, if the common can afford, if society is interested, and look at, let's go back to the history. How many things they have been doing, which is not for the interest of the society?
I agree with you on
No,
that.
so this is what you need to understand. Whatever your decision you took into that parliament, the majority of the parliament, whatever the president Barrow want individually, that is what the majority will conquer it.
So I mean, to work on the 2020 draft.
No. I mean, just give me time. I will come.
Okay.
I said, you see, for me, nkafo mole me ala dan kan na bake politiko kono be fem fola at the end of it na yilla ni mako yomal kiyamadi ben kidin la. That is my belief. You understand? Either is whatever. At the end of it, ntakam fongo jibe. It's not about people. So you see, at the end of it, those people may will be because kulil matter you buko kono. After when it is society, take a more represent. Will you decision okay? Will you comment beta? I think either they have different views there, but at the end of it, ye government law ta purka luwanin deda. Atade kanani kachata. Ila miro moment ya di wala will you miro you put. You also to the parliament. That was the 2020 draft. And the 2020 draft ni kabria sama to the parliament. Who were the people in the parliament? Many how long will balance. And who are the people who make changes in the 2024 draft? You need to ask ourselves.
The same people.
The same people. And now you are telling us, after rejecting the voice of the people, the voice of the masses, after rejecting that,
We should allow them.
you should allow them to let you make you someone will do.
I didn't say that.
No, that's what you were saying.
No, I didn't say that.
Marr, you are the very one who said that here, you were, I saw that video. The video you made 2020, the video you made,
Yes.
I saw it.
Yes.
And then what you said, that is the same thing the same thing you are saying.
Yes,
but
pass
recently.
the constitution with amendments. I'm not saying pass the constitution as it is brought. I'm not saying pass the 2024 constitution as it is.
You're trying to confuse.
No, not confused.
It's about confusing the mind of the people.
No.
No, you're confusing the mind of the people.
Okay.
Marr, I want to ask you something. Are you telling me, you must have a belief.
Yeah.
You cannot have two beliefs.
Yeah.
You cannot be a Christian and at the same time be a Muslim. You must have a belief.
It's
In that moment.
It's
You must have a belief. Because so belief you either believe in the Bible or you believe in the Quran.
So what's your question to me?
Exactly. And the question there is where we need to go. I mean, now the 2020, you believe in the 2020. And what was in the 2020 is not what is in the 2024. And then one of the key things in the 2024 is about the morality.
Leadership, integrity.
Leadership, integrity. May I know, that is May I know, they put it and they put it into the interest of the executive.
They removed it.
Because I did.
They removed it completely.
No, wait a minute.
The clause.
I did a special talk on that leadership and integrity. He's laughing.
Yes.
Because it's good to have it in the constitution, but if it's not there, it's still not a problem. Ask me why.
Why?
Because we have existing laws that governs leadership and integrity. That part as well is saying it is complementing other parts of the constitution.
But why is it not? Is it bad?
No, wait a minute.
To have it there.
No, wait a
Is
minute.
it bad?
Let me come.
And if somebody deletes that, because he can delete it, if he has the opportunity of deleting the others, wouldn't he?
Even if that is,
Okay.
even if, even if that part is deleted, it's already covered in our Anti-Corruption Act. It is covered in our Anti-Money Laundering Act. It is covered in the Government Code of Conduct, and so many other provisions in the Constitution. Right, we talk about leadership and integrity and accountability. And it's also in our criminal code.
So that begs the question: why bother to delete it?
Wait here, right? I listen to a lot of constitutional experts. I listen to a lot of constitutional experts that falls in different school of thoughts. Right? Others are telling you a constitution should not be too prescriptive. It makes it difficult for the judiciary to interpret that. You understand? Now, that leadership and integrity is also too prescriptive. And I explained this in my talk. One of the provision of that leadership and integrity is, if you are found to be dishonest to the state, or you are found to be dishonest, you could be banned for life from public service. So, you already told us the nature of a politician. If I am in power and I put this guy in the Ministry of Health or Finance, and he's doing a wonderful job, and I realize that this person is not being loyal to me or is not being honest to me, and I ban him for life. That's what is in the leadership and integrity.
No, it doesn't work like that. No, you are misleading people. It doesn't work like that.
Okay, tell me how
the
it works.
Constitution has a criteria and a requirement, a threshold to fulfill before certain things are invoked.
And tell us what are those?
No, I'm telling you. So no, allow me. You are making this argument, and people outside there, they don't fuck me. Lolu, the president is to the advantage of the president. Pumu use ko. Threshold mo fa nek ak system mo fa nek. So mo wa lolu mom na clear lolu.
What is the threshold?
Yo ya ko as
No, you said you have threshold. You said
anything that is in favor of the present government.
Just clarify that. What is the threshold?
That is to mislead people. I'm telling you.
No.
Go ahead.
I'm telling you the process here.
Marr, 1 second.
I don't like this word misleading, but you don't bring in evidence.
No, why have Marr?
That's what you are doing.
No, just tell me the evidence. What is the threshold? You said there's a threshold.
The evidence is very simple.
What is the threshold? What is the legal
The evidence that you are misleading. No. You see, you are claiming two evidences from me. I said you are misleading. And the evidence that the threshold is this is different. You are misleading because if you tell Gambians, wow, Bob Su Amesa, President Munna our point, you are not loyal to him. Does it say loyalty to the state or loyalty to the president? So if you don't clear that, you are misleading people.
Who is there to clear it?
You who
No. You need to understand.
Okay,
You said
you need to
understand, not to the president.
You need to understand constitutional law and the interpretation of the constitution.
Okay, no problem.
Marr.
So no.
Okay,
please.
You will have a chance to clear that.
But because of time, 1 minute.
You want to lie by because you're going to time.
Wow, dama bëgg jël suma time.
1 minute.
30 seconds.
So you see, Marr, come for jam. As a civil society, always be there for your people. Always be there for the people because that is your.
But have I not been there for the people?
No, I'm not saying you've not been there for the people. I use the word always.
I'm always there for the people.
No, this time you are not.
How?
No, because the people said this and you are saying this.
But where can you back that the people said this?
No, but there was, and look, Marr, you were part of civil society. There was a survey, and I believe you being a person working in the civil society, you should believe in some of these survey data.
Yeah.
I mean,
What
you should believe in them.
does the survey
No,
say?
but because you yourself normally do some surveys.
What does the survey say?
No, this is 70%. 70%.
Yes.
Over 70% of
Once a
Gambians
new constitution.
Once a new constitution.
Once a new constitution.
No. Once a new constitution.
Once a new constitution, that's what you said.
Not specifically
Not
which one.
specifically
Yes,
2020.
that's not specific. That's not specific. I was
So
part of that survey.
I'm
That's not
representing that
specific.
view. That 70% of the people want a new constitution.
And that's what he
But
said.
I'm-
We need a constitution.
Yes.
We need a constitution.
So don't tell me that I've not been there for the people.
But you cannot talk again.
Mark,
You cannot talk.
if 70% of the people say we need new constitution,
Yeah.
but it's not the better one.
But it is
But
the
the people
2020.
did not say which one.
Okay, it's not the better one. For me,
According to the survey.
But now, let's forget about now they said the only one new constitution. Fine, right?
No. You see, you are misleading the public. This is not the purpose of the platform.
no.
The people say they need the constitution, a new constitution, but a constitution where they have a say. How do people choose if they don't have a say? They chose because we have a constitution that is existing, which is the 1997 constitution. That's what we are talking about. Now, the 1997 constitution is already there. That is the old constitution. Allow me, isn't it?
Right.
Now, if you're talking about the new constitution, it's the constitution that they have been consulted about.
Mark, if you want to be fair to Gambians,
You know surveys and you know the methodologies. You know about methodologies here. So do not manipulate the methodology. Go ahead.
methodology, whatever.
You see, Mark,
Let them follow them.
30 seconds, and then I
Bye,
finish.
bye, Kini. Kini na yung more by more.
No problem. You know, Mark.
Heavy moje.
Then you work in Bailo Gumo.
By the Mar is very simple. So, Gambian for example, you see, yaje molu leftale, but molu left at pen me alonko, wole mu ila suloti.
4,000.
Andu, kukiling nyembe resona wala nyunduko. B, ite the society kono. According to Malako, the large number of Gambian people be elected men Willem the 2021. 2020 draft. More left a walla. Gambian ko Jamal left a walla. So now Gambian ko Jamal left a walla. That is what should be your voice. That is what should be your advocacy.
No.
So wait, 1 minute. Mark, you did a opinion polls on Facebook about the two constitutions, right?
Yes.
Right. So 2020 draft, 2024 draft, and 99. What was the outcome?
Well, I think it says 2024 with amendments, 1997, right, and 2020, right. We have majority that voted for the 2020, right.
So that was the top, the 2020.
Yeah,
So after doing that, what was the purpose of that survey?
Yeah, to just screen what the feelings of the people are.
So now you know the feeling of the people, and now you want people to do something.
No, but that's Facebook. You know, my mom and my grandma.
No. Sorry, allow me. The same survey, Afrobarometer said, majority of Gambians think that the president or the country is not going in the right direction. How would those people say that and still support what the president?
My final thing.
But the same survey says.
So please, that's not what the people want.
The same
No,
survey
I agree. I know that people want the
political
2020 draft.
parties and political leaders are not committed in constitutional reform, and that's what is also
Okay, fine.
manifesting. Do you agree with that?
That's what the survey says, why would I agree? So the survey says something, you don't have to agree.
You are behaving like Taliban today.
Okay, sorry. Let me keep
He's
quiet.
depending 997 constitution. That has his position. So let's go ahead.
You are provoking Mario.
No, reality. I know Mr. Bojak. That's his
You are
position.
provoking. Okay.
He doesn't want 2029 and 2020.
No.
5 seconds. 5 seconds.
So, Mark, my last point, you say, Eko B abetembo mento is Usainu Dabo and President Barrow, right? Usainu Dabo and President Barrow. But Usainu Dabo last stand. I mean, from 2020, I will make it very clear. Comme more lefon, it can represent. Usainu ko lefon. So why Usainu, better la balanda? Usainu mon balan. Usainu memfo is very clear. And the UDP position from 2020 up to now. Because one thing I hear from you, the position you took in 2020, the same position is where you are. So, but I am telling you also, the position Usenu took in 2020, the same position Usenu Bulu.
No, that was not his position.
Okay.
Yeah, his position, he supported 2020.
Okay.
Yes, that was his position. So 2024, he does not support it. So
No, what I'm asking you, no, let me ask, what I'm telling you, the position I meant about the constitutional code better. Because Gambian call la constitution I will tell.
You cannot sit here and then tell me that politicians want a constitution that is for the people. You've been here 2020. During the 2020 CRC consultation, the UDP and NPP, or the UDP and then other political parties, made it clear to the CRC that the government does not subvent political party, and as a result, they should not subject political parties to publish their audited financial reports. Political financing, they don't want transparency in there. And that is in the they put that position, the 2020 they rejected it. 2024 they remove it. So that serves the purpose of UDP and NPP. So you cannot tell, the people want, they said oppositions are government in waiting. People want government transparency, but then we also want campaign financing transparency to all political parties. So you cannot tell me here they want the constitution of the people. There are interests that have been embedded, which are against the interests of the people.
The people demanded that.
The people demanded campaign finance.
So the difference is, Marr, the difference is with that in the 2020 draft, it was still what the people wanted. You see, I attended a few consultations.
You know, when you guys tell me people, you need to qualify
Marr,
the percentage of people.
Marr, forget about the percentage. This is representative. This is representative sampling. No, just 1 minute. This is representative sampling.
20 seconds.
What is important is that the 2020 draft was inclusive and absolutely consultative. Percentage doesn't matter, but the length and breadth of this country was taught, and people were talked to, and then outside, people were talked to, and then they built a consensus that these clauses, these sections, and that's what we want in a constitution. So
no, the people didn't say that.
That's what they said.
No. The issue of marriage. The issue of marriage.
The issue of marriage. That's the few percentage. No. The issue of marriage becomes the few percentage disagreements after the constitution is built based on language. You see, sometimes it's not.
There are two processes.
Sometimes
the draft was prepared and it was given to the people. The people said that part has to be clear. It wasn't clear in the 2020.
So that's what I'm saying, because it's the language, but it's not the technicality of the constitution. It's the language.
That's what I'm.
People do not understand the language, but however,
the people unilaterally.
Okay, Naka, Bayo, we need to close because you know Marr is fasting. We need to close.
No, it's okay. No,
30 seconds. Bayo.
Marr, you are talking about,
it's 7.
We're talking about 1997. We talk about 2020, and now we're talking about 2024. And in the 1997, Mayor Longo, we all seen it go. It's a bad one. That's our belief. And Niajibe right now, the powers of the executive there. This is one of the things Mayor Longo people are saying that concern is bad. But now the same powers Mayor Longo about the executive. The same powers is what is in the 2024, and you know very well.
No. They're not.
What is that?
They're not.
What is that?
No. They're not.
What is that?
In the 1997,
I mean,
not all. They are not.
No. It's in fact was in the 2024, Marr.
How?
Okay, we will take that up another time.
Okay, no, it was. Especially okay. There are things that the constitution is silent on in the 1997. It's absolute in the 2024. Right? Let's say, for example, nomination of National Assembly members, and then recalling them. If the president dies, exactly. If the president dies, the vice president continues. So those are all clauses that are not even that absolute in the 1997, Marr.
Okay.
And those are the most problematic. Okay.
It's good that we are having this conversation. And
no, we should start with this one, even.
You don't tell me what to start.
No, it's good that we are having this conversation, and I think we need to clarify. And my brother Bayo, the people I know what is at stake, not to get constitutional reform. It's not even at the advantage of the opposition. Right now, we are the one that have something to lose. You have something to lose. I have something to lose. The bottom doesn't have anything to lose, because if we don't achieve this constitutional reform, what continues? The 1997 constitution, the same powers that you were talking about, is at their advantage. It will continue, it's going to be there. So,
nobody is supposed to respond. Just listen.
No, this is closing remark.
It's not necessary to have a check for
closing remark. We can have Marr again.
The risk, let me tell you.
Is talking about that 50%.
No, this is closing remark.
No, I'm not talking about 50 plus.
No, the closing remark.
The risk of our rigidity in the way we approach this is the executive power monopoly continues. They still have access to parliament. All of these things that you were saying, in our position paper, we did mention that, no, the executive should not have power to influencing who should be in parliament and remove them at any time. So we have based this on facts and recommendations. So we are not saying pass this constitution as it is. We have given recommendations, right? And then the other thing here is, what are we risking here? Do we risk abolishing this constitutional reform process and then continue with the 1997 constitution? Let's do the if analysis here. If the NPP government, be Barrow or anyone, is voted into power, that constitution is going to continue in the next 5 years. We have to wait until another government comes. If another government comes, what guarantees do we have they're going to give us back the 2020 draft constitution? It's still the people to decide. 53% of the population gave them that legitimacy in 2021, right? If that continues,
53, fake 53.
if that continues, what are we risking here?
You see, Marr, and when you talk and look at Bayo, he will think you're talking to him and he will be compelled to respond. Talk to the people. Do not close in remarks.
They've not biased about it.
No,
Talk to the people. Don't talk to Bayo. Talk to the people.
You know, the stakes are very, very high. Not achieving constitutional reform. You understand, right? Are we okay to go with the 1997 constitution? I'm sure none of you want that except Boyang.
Don't mind him. He's saying what he wants.
Right? So we all do not want the 1997 constitution to continue. But what do we want to continue? We want the 2020 draft to come, but we still want the 2020 draft to come to Parliament with amendments. We want this 2024 draft to come, but we still want the 2024 draft to come with amendments. You understand? In either way, if it comes to Parliament, the constitution is going to be amended. Unfortunately, that is the reality. And that's the reason why we are saying there should be consensus building. If President Adama Barrow and Ousainou Darboe sit and discuss and build consensus, we can have a constitution that is better than the 1997, the 1970, the 2020, and even this 2024 draft. It's possible. And that is the line of advocacy that we actually take it. Now we all here talking, Teo Elek, you reject, majority of you say we reject this constitution, you reject it. Now we go with the 1997 constitution. And tomorrow, kung pinyo pini, yung samasi, yung mamalaya si advocacy. Ngayon nga naman President Mini, isn't the constitution, that's the constitution that you defended. You defended that 1997 constitution. You rejected constitutional reform. That's how I actually perceive it. So that has been our position. And that's the reason why before coming out, we did work. Look at the 2020 and look at the 2024. And make recommendations. I really encourage people to go on our website. It is a very bulky document. It's 91 pages. A lot of information are there to see what we have done. So I'm not going to accept that I am defending the 2024 draft. No, I'm not doing that. Since 2020, we've been saying we want to achieve constitutional reform. So that is my position. And that has ever been my position, and you've rightly mentioned it. I don't represent the government, I don't represent the UDP, I don't represent any political party. I represent the people. That's 67% that you were talking about. They want a new constitution.
And maybe donors also.
No, you see, this is the mistake that people make. In 2020, when we were doing this work, there was not a single donor that gave us money to do this.
Yeah, I agree to that one.
So you see, this is the mistake that a lot of people make, and they say donor. They don't know what we do. Sometimes we wait a minute.
This one.
How much are you funded?
Wait a minute.
What about this one?
I need to make this clarification. You see, this is people sit and then people sit and then make this unbelievable statement and say we represent the donor stance.
Yeah.
Do you know the debates that we go with donors to say, even if they are giving us money, we say we are not going to agree to certain, we say that we want this, and that's what we want, that's what we're going to do. You bring your proposal, and people need to understand how civil society works. You know that more than I do. You bring your proposal and say, this is what I want to do, the donor gives you money, and then you do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So the donor doesn't come to you and they say, I want you to do this. And give you money and say, go ahead and then do that.
It's very good that has been mentioned, and you have.
No. That's a debate of its
No. I'm not allowing it.
I'm just. I said maybe.
We have supported a lot of civil society in this country. We have supported a lot of media organizations and journalists from our own money, not donor money, to do this work because we want something for this country. So people make this miscalculated concept, and I think it's fine. You can actually make this.
Do you publish your reports?
What?
The popular
Our reports are always go on our website.
No, I mean your financial, your budget and so on.
Go on our website. It's actually there.
Okay.
We are also audited. Okay.
And
We external professional audits. We don't have any audit backlog since we established to date.
Okay.
So we are not young bojo civil society or young bojo political party.
they are not. They are not the hot. So like no. Please. Like Sai was saying.
We will have another debate for that.
You are not at the hot civil
I
society.
remember, exactly.
But anyway, my
thank
brother
you so
Marr,
much,
thank
Marr.
you
Anyway,
so
thank
much.
you
We
so much.
appreciate your
I mean,
time.
yeah,
Bayo, please.
No, I have
No.
You know,
That's my job to do. I will do it on behalf of.
Bayo is very excited
Bayo,
having Marr.
let's
I can feel the chemistry.
Let's take it outside of here, not on the show. We have exhausted the time, even went beyond. Thank you very
Well,
much,
you are a
Marr.
dictator, don't dictate
Yes,
us.
exactly. And I wear it. I take it. I claim it. Marr, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it. Even though, under the conditions and everything, if you have allowed yourself to go beyond even the time just to discuss and shed light for the purpose of awareness and sensitization and education, pour suñ nit ñi di ko jaajëfal rek di am kontante ak mbégte bu bari di ñaanal sa organisation bi Gambia Participate mu egga fi nga ko séntu and njëriñ askan bi waaye du mun pour njëriñ lii nii lii lañ leen amaloon ci ajuma bu sell bii nii dinañ ñëwaat fii nii beneen yoon beneen ajuma ak beneen guest next week nag moom guest bu yaanja bu duufa guest bu ëppa Marr laa leen bëgg a indil xam ngeen Marr dafa rëy waaye guest bu ëppa Marr laa leen bëgg a indil soo ñu ñaan rek buñ am benn disappointment ay yooyu noonu show bi ki koy dooleel mooy Kër Finder saa yu nekk niñ koy waxee rek ñu ngi yëngu ci yëfi jaayam jënd kër yëfi sampa fii ku fi bëgg a kër gu baax Kër Finder ku fi bëgg a jëndal laan bu authentique bu óor bu amul njuuj njaaj bu amul yoxo Kër Finder la ku fi bëgg a naka lañ ko waxatee jaay laan boo xam ne du am benn njuuj njaaj yëpp set tegu ci yoon këyit yu collect këyit yu reer Kër Finder la kon foo mun a nekk jokkoo leen ak Kër Finder seen nombay ñu ngi ko def si screen bi soo leen ko jëlee ngeen koor leen under the leadership of Buuba xelam màcc na lool xarañ na ngeen contact leen dinañ leen jàppale dinañ leen dimbale ci li ngeen xam ne loolu ngeen soxla si fi jaayam jënd kër ak ay sampa ba tey rek ñuy sàkkuwaat Mariama Bojang mi nga xam ne moom lañ daaneel këram bi sàllaaji ñu ngi sàkku pour nit ñi gestu ko nit ñi yërëm ko nit ñu dimbale ko nit ñu dooleel ko parce que fu mu nekk ni ak njabootam bi coonoong leen dal métti leen dal te bugga nañ ñu gis ne loolu génn na foofu noonu te jigéen la single parent la ne leen ko jàppale ñu ngi ñaan rek on behalf of moom number Mariama bi ku ko bugg a contact o bugg a koo dimbale is 770 2670 770 am na Wave also ko buggee def any other transfer mun nga koo call direct nga wax moom seet ni mu koo jël ni mooy amee ndimbal boobu si yéen soo di leen jaajëfal di leen lii di leen wax ne nag Grand Bantaba ñun de ñu ngi fii nii rek di def ni ngeen ko buggee ak fi ngeen ko buggee ak ki ngeen bugg a ñu indi moom la ñu la mën ngeen a comment si screen bi pour wax ñu yan guest ngeen bugg a ñu indil leen ngeen bugg a ñu waxtaanal dinañ jokkoo ñoom ñu waxtaana ñoom indil leen li et ngeen di leen fàttali ne stars yi mu ngi on pour dooleel show bi mun ngeen a dem pour may ñu ay stars yooyu itam dina yombal suñ liggéey techniciens si ak staff yi gis nga ba guddi si nii ñu ngi fii nii nekk ak yéen pour indil leen li ngeen bugg a soo indil leen ñu jox leen ñu si stars yi ndax ñu mun a dëgëral programme bii nii pour wax ne rek Grand Bantaba ñun yokki yóbbuwuñu dawuñu yoxosuwuñu ñun dañ sampu faxa yóbbuwuñu kon until we come your way again another beautiful Friday it's the real queen Nene Frida Gomez thank you.
Finder is a real estate company that focuses on property development within the Gambia. We pride ourselves with providing not just quality and durable houses, but also state-of-the-art designs tailored to our clients' tastes and expectations. Our unique experience and expertise is second to none in the industry. We are currently building and selling 3-bedroom bungalows at Sukuta Traffic Lights and Jabang. We're also building and selling 3-bedroom story buildings at Sukuta Paradise. Other sites are also in the pipeline. With CareFinder, Payment options are available. With just 40% deposit, you can get your house started. For more information, contact us on 329-5188, 727-0049, 709-8418. You can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram at KidFinder. With KidFinder, you are assured of a secure investment.